everybody, and welcome back to another Nextlander podcast. I know, you hear that, and you're like, it's such a stressful week in my day, but then you hear that the podcast is here, and like, it's just routine. You just crave routine. Listen to my sound of my voice. Relax. We're here. Whatever you're doing is that much better, because Alex Navarro, you are here to assist that person as well.
Yes, I am, Vinny. How you doing? Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic. Always good to hear those lovely radio-friendly tones from you. And Brad Shoemaker, you are here.
Welcome to the voice of cool video games.
That's right.
Oh, I love cool video games. That's fantastic.
Folks, he loves cool video games. You could hear it just in the excited tones.
Okay, I can't do that voice anymore, so I'm good.
We are back. We are here. We are going to jump right in because we got a lot to talk about. But before we get into, I'm going to start here and I'm going to segue brilliantly because that's what we always do here at the Nextlander podcast. I made the unfortunate, deadly, maybe a bit of an overstatement, unfortunate mistake of leaving the house yesterday.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah. And I believe now I'm paying the consequences with a head cold. Just don't interact with
Summer
people.
cold.
Man, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, maybe it's the only time I have left the house. Well, that's not true. We had a lot of weekends where we left the house. During the week, since my kids are not in school now, I don't go outside much during the week because I don't have to like walk to go with the kids and do all this stuff outside. And it's mostly just been weekend affairs. But I was inside a school. It is the summer.
That's your first mistake.
Yes, but I was inside a school. I can only imagine what petri dish of contagions are still floating around. You'll never get that out of a middle school.
What age do children stop being adorable little disease vectors? Like, I know when they're young, it's just like nonstop, right? Like,
never.
But even like middle school, high school age, like, are they still bringing junk, gunk?
Definitely.
I think the junk gunk sticks around. Look, an office is full of junk gunk.
Yeah, fair.
You know?
That's
Any public place.
That's fair. That's fair.
PAX, junk gunk central. And those are damn grown adults.
That's true.
So I bring this up to say, A, I'm a little fuzzy, but B, Brad, you are in, speaking of going out there and pressing the flesh, let's say.
Right.
Pressing the flesh and pressing buttons.
Pressing a lot of buttons and joysticks.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
And those are not euphemisms.
Yes. Flesh
Very
joysticks.
literal in this case.
Okay. You were at California Extreme. We talked a little bit about it on the Ramble cast, but we saved the more video game laser focus centric stuff for here.
Right.
So tell us what you played.
Old video games are still video games.
Yes, California Extreme.
Some might say they're the most video games.
They will always be video games. So California Extreme is the annual, correct me if I'm wrong?
Yes. But this was the 30th year, actually.
Wow.
Which I did not know. And in fact, when you think about it, arcades were still going. So California Extreme is the classic arcade expo of record.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, there's a bunch. There's other stuff around the country now, too. But I think that's probably still the biggest pure arcade and pinball show.
Weirdly enough, though, that is not what the acronym stands for. The classic arcade expo.
No, it is California Extreme for whatever reason. But yeah, like 96-ish, or they took a year off for the pandemic, so I don't know exactly what year they started, but like arcades were still going strong into past 2000, really, before they started to really taper off.
I mean, I'm sure they still had old arcade games, or people were calling them old arcade games, but they were 15 years old.
But so yes, the oldest arcade games, and in fact, the games that are still the backbone of this show, it turns out, because this was my first time going and appraising the lineup and stuff, like those games were kind of old/retro when this thing would have started. Like there were 20 there were 20 plus year old arcade games when this show started already.
Yeah.
Those arcade games are now 50 plus years old.
As are we all, but
anyway, like longtime I can't believe I've never been to this thing. Longtime Giant Bomb fans will certainly remember that period when you guys were going to CAX, just like
CAX
rabidly.
I don't know how rabid I was. I think I went. I really enjoyed it, so I went once, and then
you did end up with a joust machine.
And not from there. Yes, okay. Yes. I can't remember the provenance of the joust machine, but I did wind up going to somebody's house. I'll just take a 80% chance here and say Steve Lynn was probably involved in some kind of way. The great Steve Lynn probably hooked me up with someone, but It was in a shipping container on somebody's property along with a bunch of other.
So did it not work when you got it?
I think
already?
It did turn on, but some things didn't light up, like some of the lights and stuff. I think those were some of the issues.
Many such cases.
I actually went back and consumed all the Giant Bomb content I could find around California Extreme after I got back, because I was just like, I mean, A, it's kind of a fun time capsule. Like, B, it was a way to like compare what was there then versus now, and it was kind of cool seeing machines that were there this time and me going like, oh, I bet that's the same machine, or there's a decent chance that machine I played is the same one I'm seeing in this video from 17 years ago. Or 16 years ago. Yeah. But then there also saw some stuff in those videos you guys did that were not there this time. So that kind of stuff was fun. And also the other thing is half of the, there was like kind of a drive time vlog that Ryan and Jeff did on the way to the office. And I think it was 2012. And most of that was spent talking about what machines they wanted to hustle for.
Yeah.
It was not going to play games. It was going to acquire cabinets. And it reminded me of that era when you had jousts. I mean, Jeff, every time I ever went to his house, there were 3 or 4 machines just lined up there.
Yeah.
Maybe Ryan, whichever worked.
Ryan, yes, exactly. Ryan got hot and heavy into buying cabinets for a while there. I think Patrick had a Neo Geo cabinet, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. I don't know how I think I was just not into retro stuff at that time. I think I've said this already this week, but I think I had just not hit my midlife crisis yet. So I was not fanatical about the things I grew up with.
I'll say you were also more practical. My opinion is that you were more practically minded, and that you were like, I live in an apartment. I'm not sure if I'm staying in this apartment.
Yep.
Do I want to move a joust or not a joust machine, a very heavy arcade machine
now,
up a flight of steps and all around?
Now, ironically or lamentably, I am still in that apartment, so but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I do actually, when you say that, I do remember thinking even at the time, I was like, man, that just seems like such a commitment and a headache to have this gigantic, heavy piece of furniture.
I think Patrick wound up giving or selling his Neo Geo machine maybe to Ryan?
Yes,
or to someone?
I read that in a blog he wrote recently. I mean, he wrote the blog a long time ago, but I recently pulled it up. It was about that whole time in his life, and part of that was him talking about giving that Neo Geo cabinet to Ryan right before he moved back to Chicago area.
I'll add the other thing that made some of that whimsy a little more palatable is when we had the bar area and the whiskey office, we were more than welcome to store our arcade machines there. So Joust was in that bar area.
Yes,
yes, that's right.
I was trying to remember. Didn't Jeff have his Blitz cabinet in the GameSpot office all those years? Wasn't that his?
Was that his? I'm not sure.
I think that's right. I could be wrong.
I don't know where else they would have gotten it. But
maybe I'm wrong, but the point is, yes. And in fact, Steve has said similar stuff about he had some of his machines at his office in the past. Having a workplace where you can sort of store/dump your extra cabinet.
Yes,
that makes it a lot easier for sure.
Yeah, so that was, we were all apartment living, I think, except for Jeff. And then Ryan at some point, later on, I think he put the Tapper and Miss Pac-Man, I believe, were the big ones he had.
I don't remember. Yeah, I
remember him having a Tapper machine. I don't remember what else he had.
He talked about wanting to acquire the Tapper in that video, actually. Yeah. So.
And so, then I think he had room in there, but I was in an apartment. Patrick was in an apartment. It was hard to keep machines in an apartment. When I got mine and I moved it into a place, I was renting a house out in San Leandro or something by that point. So I had a garage, right? That it was a ground level garage. I can put stuff in. We didn't have a car, we had a car by that point. We had that Prius. But anyway, long story short, it was a house I could wheel the thing into. I didn't have to take it up steps. They're heavy. They are very heavy.
That was a cocktail you had, right?
Yeah, still do. Yeah, I love that. I love that thing.
You still have it? I thought you got rid of it. Oh,
no. I still have it.
Yeah.
I actually
does it work?
Well, I haven't turned it on in a while. Last time I turned it on, it worked.
Okay.
I actually have, I think, Alex, you saw this. I have spare boards for it that I've picked up over the years.
Cool.
And I'm mounting them to a nice piece of wood to display on the wall like an exploded.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, because they're all functional. And then if I ever need the parts, I could just take them off the board. I just think that stuff looks cool. Just the pieces of it.
Oh, that's okay. Framed. Sure. That might be something to do with that Mortal Kombat 2 board I have in the closet that's still in the box it shipped in that I bought 20 years ago.
Put it in like a frame and make it look awesome.
Oh, no. Somebody was selling light up like mini marquees at this thing. There was a lot of cool merch there.
Yeah.
And have you seen those? They're like
the displays.
I bet I could buy it online. But yeah, they look like the marquee of a cabinet, except like a decent bit smaller, like maybe a third of the size or something. But it'd be cool to mount that sign next to all the boards.
So what I think you would get a kick out of, and the thing that I'm trying to track down, I have a printout of the service manual for the arcade machine, but I want to go get a real one and put it in a frame, that in there. The service manual is a thing.
That sounds cool.
And the extra fun bit is I have extra power supply, extra main board, extra soundboard, and all that stuff. I kind of want to see if I can mount them and then wire them up. And if I were to plug it in, could I just take the display out and run it to a monitor and have it actually functionally work in the... I bet you could do that with your Mortal Kombat board, too. I'm not sure how many daughter boards or extra boards it needs, but it might be self-contained enough.
You need like a super gun or something like that, one of those kind of adapter board. Anyway, that's not my wheelhouse, But that's what's there, right? I'm sure they had bins of boards there, or no. So like the guy I saw in the video you guys or whoever it was did from 2010, there was a guy there selling loose boards and service manuals and all kinds of stuff. I didn't see anything like that this time.
Okay.
Like the giant bin full of buttons was not there.
Okay.
The vendors were a lot more merch and like classic boxed home games and stuff like that. Like not a lot of arcade parts there.
A lot of repro for the marquees and stuff, or are they originals? Do you know?
The signs I was talking about?
Yeah.
No, they're reproductions because they're much smaller. They're not. They're like the third of the size of an actual cabinet marquee.
Oh,
if that. They're much smaller.
Okay.
But anyway, it was a great time. It was you've been,
yeah.
It's pretty cool to go around that thing and see all that stuff. But you definitely start to understand what the focus of it is after you're there. Like I really wasn't sure what to expect out of the lineup. I kind of just was like. Generically in my head, I was just like, it'll just be like a cross section of arcade history, but it really is focused on that golden age, classic era, late 70s, early 80s. Like it is a huge amount of it is your Pac-Mans and Galagas and Space Invaders and Tron and you name it. I mean, there's like a decent cross section of stuff from. I'm trying to think. Like I played Spy Hunter and Road Blasters and Outrun. Those are all kind of more mid to late 80s. Mm-hmm. I think, for example.
I think California Extreme is the thing that gave me the real appreciation for the cabinet, because you're right, it is that era, and those were cabinets built around a game usually. They weren't just, we talked about the Mortal Kombat board, like the JAMA and like other standardized formats that let you swap in boards for cabinets. This is kind of pre that, so you had bespoke controls for stuff like a Spy Hunter cabinet. You're not just throwing Mortal Kombat into it, right? Like it's the controls, and it really gave me an appreciation for these games were designed around the physicality of this cabinet, and without that, you can definitely play Spy Hunter with an NES pad or anything else. But the game was made to be played with this physical control set. And I feel like California Extreme is a great place to really appreciate that.
Like trackball games like Missile Command and Centipede, which I played both of those on separate machines, and then later, like 5 minutes later, saw a combo Missile Command Centipede machine.
Great.
For example, because they're both trackball one-button games. Or not one. No, that's not actually. Missile Command is like a 3-button. Anyway, I'm trying to think, like... there's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about from there. I guess I'll finish talking about the lineup stuff though. Like I said, there's a decent smattering of stuff from later on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like there was a whole Laserdisc game block. They had Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
And Space Ace and a Don Quixote, which I'd never seen before, and a couple others that I don't remember the name of. But the point is, there's like there's a whole
Time Traveler one.
They did not have Time Traveler. I saw it in that video you guys did, and I played that back in the day.
Yeah.
We had to drive to the next town over to play Time Traveler, which that was not worth the drive. But what I mean.
Everybody remembers it's like FMV hologram.
It's the Laserdisc game where the Laserdisc is played as a hologram.
Yeah.
Tiny. Yes, tiny hologram. I'm trying to think. But so like, it was interesting to see what is and is not there, because it's purely at the discretion of the collectors who are still willing to maintain and bring these things. So the thing I think I was the most surprised about the almost complete absence of was beat 'em ups.
Okay.
Like I figured Ninja Turtles and Simpsons were a shoe-in.
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles was the only beat 'em up I remember at the whole thing.
Interesting.
So Simpsons was not there, which I was surprised by, but I figured there'd be like a Double Dragon
At least
At
like
least.
a Bad Dudes or a Final Fight or
Or,
something.
like Double Dragon and Final Fight are kind of the marquee from that era, but there's also all the different Capcom ones, Knights of the Round and Alien vs. Predator and like just all these other. The only reason I say I'm surprised by that is because of just how dominant those games were in the arcade for like 3, 4, 5 years before, but basically from the point Double Dragon came out, this is my memory at least, from Double Dragon up until Street Fighter 2 blew up, beat 'em ups were like the game. Like that was the genre that was everywhere in the arcade. So I was surprised. I guess really what this is just a barometer of what collectors care about these days.
I was just going to say,
and it seems like I think that's the interesting sociological aspect of this. Is it seems like those kinds of games maybe are not close to the hearts of the people who still care about keeping the scene going, which was interesting to me.
See, that hurts my heart a little bit, but I understand.
Yes and no, because I go back and play some of those games on the Mister, and like I played through the first couple levels of AVP last night here, and it's like, those games are fairly one note for the most part. There's really not much there.
That's not the point.
No, and especially there's kind of a resurgence in beat 'em up design in modern games now with Absalom and some of the other cool stuff coming out of that. Like it's cool to see that genre expand now, but like those games from the late 80s are kind of
they're simplistic. I'm not sitting here and pretending there's this hidden depth there that is not there. It's just that I love them.
I do think I love them too, but I do think there is this is probably a good question for Steve. Like, what drives somebody who's not going to sell their cabinet to pack up their stuff, rent a truck maybe, pack up their collection, maybe it's in a warehouse, maybe it's not, to go to California Extreme to flex or show it off, right? And maybe those cabinets don't warrant that. Like maybe they're not like,
that's not a flex cabinet.
Yeah, maybe that's the point. Like
I can see that.
I don't know. You tell me. Like, were some of the cabinets there more like, damn, I haven't seen one of those, versus like, yeah, that's a Knights of the Round cabinet. Like,
there's just rarer, if not rare.
Yeah, or like that's not a rare one.
I'm not the best. I'm certainly not an authority on what is rare other than like what people told me while I was there. But like that Marble Madness 2 cabinet was there, which is an unreleased game and is terrible. And you definitely see.
But did that have a sticker like ask about price on it?
No. I mean, everything that was for sale had a tag that said for sale and who owned it, so you could contact them if you wanted to. But I don't think that one, because that's a prototype or that was unreleased, I don't think that one was for sale. Trying to think what else. I mean, I'll just cut to the chase here. I think that the rarest thing at this whole show is that a game showed up that nobody, including anybody who runs this thing, knew existed until like 2 weeks before. Which is a cocktail machine version of Lunar Lander.
Cocktail version.
They're like Atari made. Apparently, I hope I've got my facts right. I think what's currently understood is they only made like 1 or 2 of these ever. It never came out. It never came out. In fact, I should have Googled this because I wonder if more information has surfaced in the last couple weeks, because apparently this Lunar Landing cocktail apparently is one jigger of vodka, seltzer, I guess that's
not going to do it.
That's finding the cocktail machine for this is going to be hard. But anyway, apparently it like just.
And legit, like certified or whatever. It has been. My understanding is it has been well authenticated as the real thing. But that's
also,
cool.
But also, I sat down and played that thing.
Yeah.
First of all, I need to play more Lunar Lander because that game's fun.
It is fun.
Hard but fun.
And I won't get into this, like the tech end of this. We talked quite a bit on the Ramblecast this week about this show from a different angle.
CRT madness.
Nextlander patrons want to go listen to that. They've talked a bunch about all the really interesting efforts to like keep CRTs going for arcade machines on there. But one thing I learned in that whole thing is that vector monitors use like an extra lot of electricity. And Lunar Lander is a vector cabinet. This thing is like ramshackle. There's no art. There's no side art on this cocktail at all.
Like very prototype.
It's all just pure wood paneling. They had a piece of painter's tape where they had written like 1 player, 2 player next to the buttons because there was there are no markings on the cabinet.
Oh, so you sit next to each other? It's not
no, you sit across from each other. And so apparently, I was talking to Steve. Apparently, like this is technically a different version of the game from a preservation standpoint because they had to do extra. There's extra code in there, to flip the screen back and forth for the players. So this is technically a distinctive version of Lunar Lander.
Yeah.
The thing I was going to say though is I don't know what is going on under the hood of that cabinet, but where you put your hands on the controls with the lever, because how you play Lunar Lander, it's some buttons and like a
throttle
kind of thing. you could feel a lot of heat coming off of collecting in that area where the controls are. It was like
that's
very,
cool.
very warm in there.
Yeah. The power supply really working in there.
I don't know what like late 70s, like circa 1980.
They might have swapped the power supply. I mean, that's like a legit for a linear power supply or something.
Yeah, who knows what's in there? But I was just
amazing.
it was like, oh wow, this is really unreleased because this thing is throwing off like a kind of alarming amount of heat.
That's
like, is
funny.
there what is the nuclear RTG or whatever is there like
like a measurement?
Right. Yeah. Anyway, that was very cool.
That's cool though. So did you wind up playing like 2-player with somebody?
It was just 5 minutes before we left, and I happened to see it in the corner and nobody was on it, so I just hopped on and played it a little bit. But
I mean, that's another great thing about that place is somebody has this thing that nobody knows about, and you played it. It wasn't under glass. It wasn't like up on a pedestal. Like you just sat down and played it.
It was very cool to know I was sitting there playing like a kind of protape unreleased, possibly like one of one
and
version
like
of that
how
game.
many people have now played that game? Like hundreds, maybe.
Yeah,
like,
it made me think of this thing is 50 years old, 50 plus, well over 50 at this point.
Yeah.
Or well, who knows? Actually, I'm 45. But anyway,
was there any story about where they found it? Or
I think there is. I didn't get much of that story. I just know that it surfaced not long before the show and then made it there.
Okay.
Let's see. There are not as many fighting games as I was expecting. There's a decent number of fighting games, but it's kind of the beat 'em up thing again. Of they were so dominant for so long that you don't really know how many are going to show up. But it was really just the mainstays. They had one Mortal Kombat 2. That was the only MK.
Okay.
They had Super Street Fighter 2, but not Super Turbo.
Okay.
And then they had like 3 dual Candy Cab Street Fighter 2 Turbo setups.
That's fun.
Like hyper fighting. And I don't think I'm not sure I've ever sat at a head-to-head Candy Cab and played somebody before in a game.
Wait, really?
Maybe I did in Japan at one point when I was there, but like very, very rarely, if ever. But anyway, they were having a Street Fighter 2 Turbo tournament, which I entered.
Oh, okay.
And made it to the second round.
Heck yeah!
I thought for sure because a lot of the people hanging around that thing seemed like they meant business.
Who's your main?
And I thought
Ryu.
I'm ashamed to admit I just picked Ryu.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
He's a perfectly cromulent character. Like, there's nothing wrong with playing Ryu
against another Ryu.
Okay, great. Look, these are people who just know what to know, are like, hey, this is the character. when push comes to shove, right? You have to just get in there and be like, I remember how to do these moves.
They put them on the box for a reason, man.
Yeah.
But it was a fairly heated, contentious first round, but I got through it, which made me feel good. But then the second, I just got completely rinsed. My second matchup, like, didn't even take a round off of the guy.
Was it against the Guile?
I think it was another Ryu, actually.
Oh,
if I
another
recall,
Ryu? Okay, great.
if I am not mistaken.
Okay.
And then they bumped me into the losers bracket, but I'm ashamed to admit I ghosted that one because it was
okay.
It was mid-afternoon and I had not eaten lunch yet, and it was just like, okay, I can't hang around here for another hour or two.
You gave somebody a buy into the next to come back in.
I let them DQ me against. Yeah. So anyway, but that was.
How many people? Do you know how many rounds it wound up going? Like how many people were in the brackets?
I think the sign up list was like 65-ish, 70 people or something. It was like decent size. Yeah, it was.
That's fun though.
The bracket's online. They streamed one of the setups on Twitch. They were streaming it the whole time. So
that's cool.
I did not play in the seat that was streamed though. But
did they? This is a technical question, but did they intercept the video signal, or did they like shoot it off the screen?
I don't know how they were doing it actually. Now that you mention it, I didn't even think to look. I might be able to find that Twitch archive now that you've asked. I'm kind of curious to go look, but I don't know.
I think you can tap in.
Yeah, I bet. I would not be shocked if they had a way to get video straight out of it. Yeah. Those machines were nice. Like those were very cool, right? Well maintained. Like very nice monitors.
And you said they were the head-to-head ones. They're like, like you don't see the other person.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah. So that
could you scan a card?
I don't remember.
Okay, that might be too modern for those.
Almost no Neo Geos at this thing either. There was one. There was one type of MVS that I've never seen before. It was a dual game like wood panel one, like this kind of smaller wood panel setup, which we looked up and is a real. It was not some conversion. It was a thing SNK put out.
What games were loaded in?
It was Magician Lord and Mutation Nation.
Huh.
So interesting picks.
It's not the ones, I would.
Yeah, but again, well, I think of Magician Lord as one of the canonical. I mean, that was the pack-in Neo Geo game, so I can see that one. But yeah, like that was another one where like Neo Geo was such a big part of arcade history, but also like there might have been a CAX era 15 years ago where people were bringing lots of Neo Geos and fighting games, and we just might be in a
different sentiment.
The meta, the arcade collector meta may have shifted for the time being. So it's just really interesting to see who decides to bring what to this thing. I mean, there's like tons of other stuff that I haven't mentioned that was there. And that's not even getting in the pinball side of this thing, which is like a whole podcast unto itself, basically. Like the pinball scene, like you might hear some people around there say that pinball is maybe the thing that's actually keeping that show going at this point. Because like pinball releases are hot and heavy now. Like pinball, for
wild
people,
to me.
For people who don't know, like the pinball scene has become explosively popular again in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
Is it for home collectors or for?
I think that's a lot of it. That's a lot of it. But like, there are places in SF where you can go play pinball, but it's a big city, so
it's like barcades or just
barcades, or you might. I'm sure there's
bar.
I'm sure there's like the odd pizza parlor here and there, or laundromat or whatever that is putting. But for the prices these games are going for, I'm guessing it's not like a casual thing. It's like your business probably is somewhat built around pinball.
Got to be a good earner.
When the machines are pushing high four figures at this point.
Yeah.
But there's like Stern is putting out like 3 tables a year now. There's Jersey Jack is another newer company that's sprung up making machines. Like there's.
I went to a Stern appointment at Summer Games Fest. Like they are showing up at bigger gaming events again. Like
when I saw Stern was booking appointments at Summer Game Fest, I was like, man, this is like serious. This is for real.
Yeah.
So I also played a ton of pinball. Over,
like you said, that new Transformers table.
Yeah, I played the Transformers. I mostly stuck to older games though. No Addams Family. See, this is again the thing where I think it's interesting. Like because Addams Family apparently is like by far the highest selling table. Or maybe not by far, but it is probably one of the most common tables out there, and certainly like the one I remember from that time as like, oh man, pinball is getting crazy. But I wonder if it's the kind of thing where it's like it's such an obvious pick to bring that nobody who has it would think to bring it. They're like, somebody else will bring it, or I've brought that a bunch of times. I'm gonna dip deeper into the collection or whatever. So it's like interesting to see what shows up.
Yeah.
There. Anyway, the pinball stuff was cool. I don't know how much more there is to say about that. It was fun going around there with Steve because he is a collector, and like some of those machines used to belong to him and don't anymore because he's traded them or sold them at this point. Like his Tron Legacy was there that has the little modded Arduino arcade cabinet in it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't know. What do you mean?
There's a Tron Legacy machine that came, or table that came out at the time of that movie, which is like 2011-ish or something. There's a little classic Tron classic Tron arcade game in there that I believe, if I understood, factory just had like a static like decal of a Tron screen on there.
Oh, and you can mod it in.
Somebody, he and or somebody else he knew at the time, yes, hollowed out that machine and put a real tiny screen in it when he owned it, and put a little Arduino in there to run screens, to run like an attract loop of actual Tron on that tiny 5-inch cabinet, and that's still in there. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing I mean, is like it's a lot of those machines have history, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like you go around and there's a lot of specific individual units there that have history attached to them that is cool. I'm trying to think. I mean, I could go on and on, but we should talk about modern games, I guess. But
what did you enjoy playing video games?
It was MK2. It was 10,000%. I have not played MK2 in the arcade in like 30 plus years, and was just like dying because that was my game. Like that was the game I could just like beat on 1 credit. Mm-hmm. That was the game where I knew every move and finisher and everything, and like spent insane amounts of time in the arcade on back. Like I got to the point where a couple times in our local arcade, like the operator who was working at the time just opened the coin door and like thumbed in some credits for me because I was there so much that they knew me and were just like, just go have fun. Like I played an embarrassing amount of that game. And
did it
pretty
come
awesome.
Back? Were you
an alarming amount of the like actual finishers, and like kind of I didn't remember anybody's pit anymore, if that tells you anything, or like I think the only friendship I remembered even closely was Raiden. Like I've forgotten a lot of the stuff, unfortunately. It was kind of the ravages of time, man. But,
if you're not putting those inputs in on a regular basis, that knowledge will leave you eventually.
But I bet Jeff still knows all that stuff.
Well, he's still putting those inputs in on a regular basis is the thing.
But I printed out a FAQ before I went.
Smart.
Fuck a phone.
Yeah.
Did you leave it there,
I printed,
or did you?
I printed an
take it with
8-page
you?
FAQ and stapled it. I brought it around with me because I was worried it would vanish over the weekend. But when we left Sunday afternoon, I left it on the cabinet, and then
Yes, good for you.
And then I heard tell that later on, after we had left, there were people playing the game and using the FAQ.
Hell
Good.
yeah, that's the spirit.
Which
Yeah.
made me very happy.
Who is your Ryu for MK2?
Typically Raiden. Like my
Okay.
go-to.
Okay.
That air torpedo is just too useful.
Did you wind up playing against other people?
Well,
like
actually,
strangers?
I'm going to say at my peak it was Shang Tsung, because then you could just do anything with anybody whenever you wanted, and I routinely would just. I mean, he was the Swiss Army knife, because then you could do whatever fatality you wanted every round that you played. You know, it's just like I've got the entire palette of fatalities at my disposal here.
Did you wind up playing against any randos?
Yeah, there were 2 or 3. That machine was having issues off and on all weekend, sadly. So it went dark a couple of times, and so there were times when I wasn't able to play it. But there were like 3 different moments where I got on with people who really knew what they were doing.
Okay,
and that was very satisfying.
Also, an interesting one, I would say, for a couple of reasons. Which board do you have? You have 2 or 3? You have 2. Okay, so interesting one, because also, as we've talked about briefly, I don't know, here or other places, some of the Midway stuff that is not on the Mister. So, it is, you're still, if you want to play as close to the original as possible,
actually,
pretty much the original is the way to go.
That's a whole other rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. If we can like bounce from one rabbit hole to another,
Please.
that we need to not spend so much time on, because I'm sure some people want to hear about Marvel Tokon, but some AI slop cores for the Midway stuff have come out on the Mister in the last like 2 weeks. It turns out.
Slop cores.
I mean, this is how
Slop core.
that's the pace, though, right? Is that like once those things start appearing, people are just going to start throwing them out there for everything.
I've been looking into that stuff some more, and there are just like MAME ported cores, AI vibe coded cores hitting the Mister just left and right now.
Oh, interesting.
Tremendous.
And one of them is like all the Midway stuff, and like I looked at a forum of people talking about it on the Discord, and then sure enough, like it runs, but it's also like half a dozen people just going like, hey, is anybody having this issue? Hey, does the sound not work for anybody else? Like just crap like that. And
indicative of quality,
but not making it into the main release.
No, absolutely not. But the guy's running a Patreon for it, and like, but the real concern, as I've said before, is that people who would really like decap those chips and do the real low level work to like implement all that stuff for real might look at that and just go like, well, what's the point then if this is already out there and everybody's already just playing that?
So I would say that's true, but only to a point, because I think, especially with stuff like the Midway cores, where there's a lot of demand for that to actually be good, someone will still do that work. But like a thing I've run into repeatedly when I've been like, getting custom content for like Clone Hero or whatever, is that people who charted stuff at the beginning did a bad job. And then for a long time, no one else will come back around to those songs because they say, oh, someone already uploaded it. But then eventually someone does. They prioritize other newer stuff that hasn't been done yet, but then they come back around and be like, all right, this was bullshit. I'm going to do a good version of this. And I feel like that will still happen with these AI slop cores, is that it might delay people coming around and doing good work on those things, but I don't think it will prevent it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there are people who are like trying to lay down ground rules right now for what like is actually going to make it into main, and like they're not saying no AI period, because it's like, for one thing, you can't really prove if somebody who knows what they're doing used AI or not. But like
it's hard to police.
The thing I was looking at last night is like they're drawing a line around preservation value is how they're putting it, which is very useful as a phrase that is very open to interpretation.
Yes,
it allows them to say like, hey, this does not seem like it has preservation value, even if it works technically. Like, just another random example, these things are coming out everywhere right now. Like somebody debuted a System 11 core. System 11 is the Namco arcade hardware that is based on the PlayStation 1 hardware.
Okay.
The like stuff like Tekken ran. Like, you remember how like Tekken 1 and 2 on the PlayStation were just like arcade perfect, like basically indistinguishable? It's because the boards they ran on in the arcade were basically just PlayStations with almost, there may be minor differences I don't know about, but anyway, somebody rolled that thing out. And people were like, holy crap, like, this is just crazy, all the stuff that's coming out on the Mister. And then the person who wrote the System 11 implementation for MAME came along and said, yeah, I looked at the code for this. This is a 100% port of my emulator of System 11 for MAME with no changes and is 100% AI generated.
So does that mean it's not? It is doing emulation at that point?
Yeah, well, but like it's getting into weeds that I'm only partially qualified to talk about. But like the way that you do emulation on PCs or on like in software is just fundamentally different at a low level than you would on an FPGA. So like technically it works, but it's not playing to the strengths of the platform. Like,
right.
And further, the people who are kind of generating these, slopping these things out, whatever you want to say, don't necessarily have the wherewithal to fix the little edge cases and weird behavior. And
so that's what I was going to say about the preservation value is, say what you will about, an AI doing this work to code it. If a human can't go back and understand the code.
Yeah, that is the objection from most people to these things is that like, okay, this might technically work, but it's not accurate. It's not accurate in the way we're looking for here. And the person
why does it work?
Right. And the person who did this doesn't know how it works and does not have the expertise to fix it, setting aside that it's not even done in a way that is like playing to the strengths of what this hardware does in the first place. Like it's just a bad scene.
But that's, I think, again, going back to where that scene is, maybe you'll find that there are some like John Henry types that are like, I'm going to put me up against, I'll show you a real working, FPGA core for this. Maybe with the heroes we need.
I hope so.
Out there.
I hope so. I have waited for the Midway hardware for years and I will keep waiting.
I love my favorite part of the FPGA thing from a very far away, not even in the blast radius zone, is when the impossible becomes made, not even possible. When somebody's like, it'll never be done, and then somebody takes up the challenge and is like, I did it. You're like, hot damn, you did. I had to do some weird stuff. You might need an extra stick of RAM in here, or you might need this, but it is doable, or it is done. So humans still pretty impressive in all regards.
Yeah, like don't only hijack this whole podcast, but I was just reading about the N64 core on there yesterday, which is like kind of imperfect by nature. Like it can never be perfect on that hardware because of the way they had to implement it. But like there's like 6 games that don't work right. And then I saw that somebody has just taken to patching the ROMs for those 6 games. Like it's Conquer, Jet Force Gemini, Resident Evil 2, and like a couple other games that probably are not super important.
Okay.
But I saw what they're doing to they went through what they've done for each one to make them work. And like in the case of Jet Force Gemini, it's just like, it does a check for so-and-so thing that is failing and crashing the game. So I just went in there and patched the ROM so that check passes every time.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Like,
right. That's interesting, but
it's very funny to me.
But you wouldn't be able to then just put your cart in and use it, right? Because you would need some kind of.
Well, actually, you couldn't do that anyway because there's just no interface to the cart there. But in fact,
you know what I mean. Like the
developer of that core has sanctioned those fixes to the point that he has now just gone and integrated those into the core itself, so you don't need a patched ROM anymore. So that's just to your point. It detects
the ROM. It'll
to your point about doing some weird workarounds to just make stuff work.
Well, I'm very excited that you went out to California Extreme. I think that's a really fun show, and I'm glad you were supporting it. I'm glad people are still doing a lot of work to haul arcade cabinets out there. And
yes. Thank everybody who does the, like, I'm sure backbreaking manual labor, not to mention the overhead of just keeping those things working all the time, but like just getting them in and out of that hotel.
It really feels like a labor of love, and I'm not sure if at all, or what the commercial profit margin. It doesn't seem like something that has been taken over in a way that
not as of this juncture.
Fundamentally, going to be like, I'm making tons of money swapping arcade machines,
and like things like hotel ballroom space and U-Haul trucks or whatever don't really scale. So I can't imagine they're making much, if any, money on this thing at all.
Yeah, so I think that's such a cool scene.
But it was very crowded, and it was like at opening on Saturday, it was like jam packed with people. Like you could barely get in there. Like I was kind of very heartwarming to see how many people came out for it. So
did you see a lot of kids? Or was it
quite
mostly,
a few? Yes,
yeah? Cool.
Lots of children for sure.
Great. Did you stay until the end?
Not quite.
Okay,
we were there till like 3:34 on Sunday.
So you didn't see them loading the trucks up at the end?
No,
the mass deal making of, I don't want to take this thing home, please.
Oh, I'm sure.
Buy it.
Were you there for that?
I think it happens every year. Where
I'm
it's
sure
just
it
like,
does.
I brought this to not
I'm sure
take
it
home
does.
with me.
Yes, I think I'm sure that's a big part of it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's kind of part flea market, right?
Yeah, we did make it till the 1:30 a.m. closing on Saturday night, though. Somehow, I did not expect to, but we did make it and got to see them like turning off entire circuits of just whole rows of cabinets going dark all at once. Was kind of creepy and fun.
Because you stayed in the hotel, right?
Yeah, another one nearby, not that one, but yeah, close enough. It's super off-road. I have an Iron Man Stewart super off-road 3-player late Saturday night. That was another highlight.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you bought one.
I actually also thought that's where that was going.
No, absolutely not. But that was right up there with MK of just like, you can't replicate the feel of spinning that wheel to kick your the rear end of your monster truck out around the dirt track. You know what I mean?
Like, God,
it was
what
just
a beautiful game that is.
Getting my hands on that wheel and remembering the feel of driving that game was just like, that was worth it all.
A tremendous piece of work, that thing.
You
all
really get that thing going. That's like a lot of RPMs on that wheel.
Yeah. Anyway, big thanks to everybody who puts that show on and does all that work. Also, thank you to everybody who came up and said hello at this thing. That was cool too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great scene over there. I hope it keeps going. Well, should we transition into a more modern fighting game?
Sure, yeah. I mean, like playing Street Fighter and MK and stuff at this thing kind of made me come out of this going like, maybe a fighting game would be good for me right now to have to play.
Heard of fighting games, they're pretty good.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break here since we're about out of time. We'll come back and we'll talk about some Marvel Tokon, and we'll see what Arxis has delivered in their latest fighting game. So stick around. We'll be right back. This week's show is brought to you by MSI, Brad Shoemaker.
Hi.
We all know the price of consumer gaming parts, not something to be laughed off or sneezed at these days.
Nobody's out there on the rooftops shouting good things about it right now.
No, and I feel like if you're in the market for new PC parts upgrades, you will take any help you can get at this point. The MSI is here to help out. Their RTX 5060s and RTX 5070s, you can get 10% off these video cards.
All right.
And that's not nothing to sneeze at. If you've been looking to upgrade, if you've been waiting, I have a computer here, my kid's computer. It's a 2070.
Okay.
It might be time.
That was a functional card at one time.
Yeah. It might be time to move up here. Maybe a 5070. Maybe a 5060. They don't necessarily need the most bleeding edge.
Look, 1080p is still a venerable resolution.
1440, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Some might call it a good middle ground.
Yes, and with the 5060 and the 5070, either stock or TI versions, you can get there and you can get 10% off with MSI. How do you get this? Well, until the end of September, which is creeping up, US-based listeners can get 10% off any regularly priced RTX 5060 or 5070 series at us-store.msi.com. Use code NEXT10 at checkout, and that's it. You just get 10% off. You buy a card from MSI, save money, and just do it.
90% of the price is less than 100% of the price.
Totally.
I'm a mathematician.
That's next10 at us-store.msi.com. Take the help you can get during these times of really high prices out there in the rest of the market. MSI, 10% off. Use next10 at their store. MSI, power doesn't have to cost this much. Thanks, MSI. This week's show is brought to you by Factor, Brad Shoemaker.
Hello, reporting for duty.
My schedule has been higgledy-piggledy, as the kids say these days.
Do the kids really say that?
They do. They are all like, yo, bro, higgledy-piggledy. What's in the fridge, Pops, Unk? And I go,
cool out, Daddy-O.
I go, I don't know, because my schedule has been a mess. My kids are off from school. My whole being is thrown into a loop. So when I open the fridge, I am eating hot garbage. You know what I need in my life, Brad?
What's that?
A little bit of that factor in there.
Ooh.
When I open that fridge and there's the factor in there, I already know what I'm eating and don't make bad food crimes.
When the factor is in there, you know what you're eating. It's the factor.
Factor, you know what it is. Factor makes chef-crafted, dietitian-designed, ready-to-eat meals so you don't have to choose between real food and convenience. With over 175 banned ingredients, every Factor meal is designed around what supports a healthier lifestyle and nothing that doesn't. And I'm going to assume they mean the 175 banned ingredients. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes and require no prep, no cleanup. So even on the days your schedule is completely out of control, eating well is still achievable. And you'll find a bunch of nutrient-dense menu items, including salmon burgers, shredded pork, collard greens, and more. 90% of users agree that Factor meals help them live a healthier lifestyle, so you can feel confident that you're doing something good for yourself with every meal. Factor wants you to eat real. Head to factormeals.com/Nextlander50 off and use code Nextlander50 off to get 50% off and one free breakfast item per box for 1 year while supplies last until October 31st, 2026. That's code Nextlander50 off at factormeals.com. Nextlander50 off at factormeals.com. See website for more details. Thanks, Factor. All right, we are back, and like we said, we're here to talk a little bit about Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, Arxis' take on the Marvel fighting franchise here.
Mm-hmm.
I put some time into this mostly. I don't know where you guys went with it. I stayed mostly in the single-player story stuff and some of the tutorial things. I did not go online to fight. Did you guys?
I've done no online yet.
I have played online.
Uh-oh,
Okay.
How is it on there, first of all?
Fine. I don't
Okay.
know. I'm not sure if I'm like a
Qualified.
qualified judge. There definitely seem to be a lot of people not happy with the netcode in that game, but I can't. I mean, I noticed a couple hitches here and there, but I don't know if that was like just frame rate or if that was rollback happening or what, but it didn't seem too bad to me.
So I played on PS5. I don't know where you guys were also
same.
on
Same.
PC. Okay, so all PS5. In the offline stuff, I had no problem really. You know, I didn't see a lot of lagging in the stages or anything like that. Not that I would expect to on the PS5. I have seen some complaints on the PC version when I was just going through some of the Steam reviews, because I think at the time of this recording, it was hovering around a mixed on the Steam side, which usually for a release like this on a fighting game thing means either netcode or lagging or something is going on in there, and it seems to be maybe the case on the PC. Okay, I'm going to start with, for folks that are maybe more aligned with where I am, which is not competitive fighting game. I'm kind of here to go see the cool characters and the designs and maybe even some of the story stuff. I think there are really awesome elements. I think the characters are very cool. I think most of the character designs I really like. I think the story stuff has cool elements, but I think it is actually kind of flat for me in terms of the campaign.
There's not a lot of excitement there, at least from what I've played. Like, there's some good character work with some of the more dynamic characters. Like, I think some of the Deadpool stuff is actually pretty fun. I think some of the stuff around the Spider-Man group is pretty fun, but like, it's just not that interesting. Like, a lot of it is just, hey, we are forming our team, and then there's this big fucking anime villain that's going to eat our planet if we don't tournament this because it's a fighting game. And like, the girl who is like his herald is kind of fun, but I feel like everything else around the edges is not that interesting.
Yeah, so the setup is, like Alex just said, it's almost like a Galactus style. Somebody's coming to Destroyer of Worlds comes, but really what he wants to do is, it's almost Dragon Ball Z adjacent, is looking for the best fighters in the universe. Comes over and is like, comes to Earth with their heralds, which is this almost this ringmaster type woman who's just like spectacle.
She looks like an anime magician. Just imagine a magician drawn in anime. That is what she looks like.
Yeah, and comes to Earth, and it's basically like, okay, we're doing teams of 4. And so the X-Men get a team of 4. The Avengers, this is in the campaign mode. Avengers get a team of 4. The bad guys, which wind up being, I think, Doom, Magneto, Carnage, and who else in that one? Doom, Magneto, Carnage.
Doom, Magneto, Carnage, and Green Goblin.
Green Goblin, yes, okay. And then some Spider-Man folks, which wind up being Spider-Man, I think Ms. Marvel,
Star-Lord, and Penny Parker.
Okay.
Am I looking at the roster right now? Yes, I am.
Yeah. And I think so those wind up being the campaigns. You jump into, you pick it, and you're like, I'm going to play as the Avengers. You jump in, and then it does like comic book style panels that are voiced.
Yes.
I think the voice work in English is not so great all the time.
It's very like anime video game adaptation voice work. Like there's definitely some actors in there I recognize from other like Japanese, dubs.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where since it's panels and voiceover, it just feels a little stilted in some of the flow, and you're waiting.
I don't think the panel art is really that great. Like it's not bad, but I feel like none of it has really popped for me.
Doesn't really pop.
I do think it's neat that each episode has a different artist for that, though. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, they're not wildly different though. Or at least I played like 2 or 3.
Yeah, well, if you scroll through all the different episodes, you can start to see there is some, like, one looks definitely a bit more anime looking. Okay. One has like very thick lines and a lot of shading. Another one is very, I don't know, I'm not a comic guy. I don't know the art style super well, but like they do have some art variation as you go through.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. I think it's more of the what happens is you wind up getting the big production animated scenes in each one repeat. So you get the panel, and then you'll get a big fully animated cutscene, and that's repeated throughout each one. It's usually when the what do you call her? The presenter, I forget what her name is.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like also the big bad also doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
Like they're not that interesting.
So you get the part where she introduces him as a big, elaborate, awesome cutscene, but it's the same throughout each one. And then the panel stuff is usually the stuff that is different. And then you basically wind up having this round robin where these 4 teams, 4 or 5 teams.
It's 5 teams of 4.
5 teams of 4. Fight each other to see who's going to take on the big bad, and then if they can win, then everybody's saved. Hooray.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the setup, and that's, Alex, I think what you're saying is like there's not really a lot there. You're kind of just like fighting, and most of the time they're all friends anyway for a lot of the teams except for the bad guys, so they're like, that's great, the X-Men won, awesome, they'll save the day.
There's some tension with the Ghost Rider team, which is like Ghost Rider, Blade, Deadpool, and Loki.
Yeah,
like that is not a group of dudes that hang out a lot. Especially, I think that version of Ghost Rider isn't necessarily hanging out with Blade all the time. So, yeah, they play a little bit of that tension up, but like it doesn't really go anywhere. Like it's more just like it's just an excuse to get them kind of like bickering a bit before they eventually just go whole hog into the tournament.
And I think the level, at least what I played on, the default level of you could kind of, it was not very challenging until I got to maybe the second or third round of the big boss fight.
Yeah.
Where I was like, okay, this gets a little harder. So that's the story stuff. I'm not going to be for everybody. This is a fighting game.
The story is there to teach you how to play the game, and the game itself is not, I would not say, overly complicated by any stretch. I think the biggest thing to figure out is
to jump into, I would say.
To jump into, it's pretty normal. Like the actual like attacks and the basic like remember single character attacks, like roster of moves you have to remember is not that high.
Yeah.
The thing that's tricky is just remembering all the different combinations you can do with the 3 members of your team that you can tag in at any given moment.
Yeah, that stuff feels like a lot. I mean, okay, let me back up a little bit. Did you guys play Dragon Ball Fighters?
Yes,
I did.
I was just going to say this is reminiscent.
That was trios, though. That was not quarters.
Okay, so I never got around to playing that. Is this very much in that mold, though? Because that's my impression.
Similar.
Okay, because I remember what I've played of this is very much reminds me of what I heard about that game, which is that it's like it's not about like long command inputs. Like all the special moves are just kind of like a button and a direction, you know?
You can do that. I mean, if you want, you can. I don't know what the fighting game terminology is. Do people still use dial-a-combo stuff for just mashing in a combo?
Not real. I kind of...
Because this game has that, and DBZ had that as well. If you just keep pushing square long enough...
like you get a cool looking combo out of it, and in some cases, depending on the match circumstances, that might literally just hitting square over and over might send you into like a very involved special attack.
Yeah, and it usually does. In this case, square, circle, or triangle will usually end with one of the specials. But also you can, I think it's the modifier is like R2. Just hold R2 and push one of the buttons to drop your special out, or do a command input if you do want it. And that's similar to Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah, but even in those cases, it's really just like you have a special move button, and it's literally just a direction and that button to do different moves. So like there's no like, what I mean is there's no fireball or dragon punch, half circle or quarter circle, forward, quarter circle.
You can do the command input.
Are those in there? I didn't know. It never mentions that when you're doing the tutorial.
You have to like switch over to in the I forget what they call it. It's like the jump in tutorial, the one with Captain America.
Yeah.
You can't switch how it displays it, but when you go into the training mode, you can have it display command input, or in the command sheet display command input, or have it display the one with the one button or two button input.
It seems like, this is just my snap judgment, like it seems like all the depth in this is in the tag moves and like counters and anti-counters and like launchers and
being able to read the screen.
Control. I mean, that's definitely part of it too, but like it just seems like it's a lot of controlling match flow and countering their tags and a lot of that stuff, as opposed to, well, I don't know. I mean,
there's going to be like, we're probably not the ones that are jumping into this, right? Like,
but it feels like a very different match flow and focus from like, especially like playing that Street Fighter 2 tournament over the weekend is a very much more stripped down and pure like mind game that you're playing against the other person, and this is a lot more complex and a lot more back and forth.
Yeah, and it's also not Marvel in the way that we've known Marvel Capcom stuff to generally be. Like, it is a lot of shit on screen, and it is a tag game, but otherwise, mechanically and pace-wise, it feels very different from those Capcom games. And I'm just gonna say, I think for me, the thing with it that works for me, though, is that I actually find the action to be fairly readable. Like, it isn't like Dragon Ball Fighters where it's just like beams blowing everywhere all the fucking time.
There can be a lot, yeah.
There can be a lot, but I've found this to generally be a much more readable experience. That doesn't mean I've got like the moves dialed in or I know exactly when to react to stuff well, but like I felt like at least as far as what's on the screen in front of me, it's digestible in a way I was kind of hoping for.
Is this, I guess my question for ArcSys heads is like, is this how all their fighting games play, or is this just a like Dragon Ball and Marvel, like more of a mass market? Like, because this is very approachable. Like, a lot of people are going to buy this that don't want to go online and be competitive, and like you definitely can mash out some really cool looking stuff without having to worry a whole lot about technique. But that's never the reputation I've gotten for like your Blaze Blues and Guilty Gears and stuff. So I don't know what those games are like contrasted with this. I'm just curious.
Guilty Gear has more going on, though, to be fair. It's been a really long time since I played the last one they did, and I did not play a lot of it. I've never played any Blaze Blue, so I cannot give you any information on that.
Like, just looking at the names of Guilty Gear games is so, like, what are Guilty Gear XX Accent Core plus R.
It's very, like...
that's a recent Guilty Gear.
Yes. It's either that or a Kingdom Hearts game, so...
That's just a lot to take in.
People really like their last Guilty Gear.
My son, who has played now a decent amount of Dragon Ball Fighters Z, accused me.
What?
Accused me of mashing into those combos and was like, "You're just mashing the combos." And I was like, "Dude, is that not the game?" He's like, well, no, like you should be putting the input commands in and doing the custom combos. This is frowned upon. And I was like, what are you talking about? What do you know?
I've never done a combo on purpose in my entire life in any fighting game. Like, I'm telling you right now, every single combo I have
even Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, every combo I have ever eked out has been 100% accidental.
I will go through the training and learn the combo and then completely forget it because
that's what happens with me every time too. That's why I stopped trying to learn, is that I do it and then I forget about it 5 minutes later.
Yeah, my son will be the one. He spent so much time memorizing the combos because he has that young spongy brain, I guess, that can still remember a 21 input combo. But then it's so situational that he's like no, just stand still. I'm be like, dude, nobody's gonna stand still for you in this thing.
No.
Anyway, I thought it was funny when I was playing and I was like mashing into the combos, which you absolutely can do in this game.
Yeah.
And for me, it happens more accidentally than intentionally. But this game allows you to call in characters you could and then switch during the assist. Again, I'm not sure how
and
much
there's
of this
different
stuff
levels of call-ins because again, you have there's four people on your team. You have a primary character who is kind of your lead. There's the one who's like the default tag in first person.
Yeah.
And then the rest are kind of like there for the combos and specific moves that are built around 3 and 4 attacks. Like you can tag in anyone, but I'm just saying.
You can tag in anyone. Yeah, the assists I think are maybe mapped, and again, this is probably going to show or at least my ignorance in the space. There seem to be mapped for like pop-up, shooter, or melee assists, right? Like
seemingly,
the position.
yeah,
seemingly to be like, hey, call this one in if you're doing a pop-up or in the air, if you want to be close or whatever. I just look, I think the Iron Man design is really cool.
I think a lot of the character designs are really good.
A lot of them are cool. I think the Hulk one is not my favorite. That's the Savage Planet. Hulk. Is it Savage Land? Savage Land.
Savage Land, yeah.
Yeah. That's not my favorite Hulk. I love Hulk.
Yeah. I don't love new Ghost Rider either. I mean, it's more that I thought Johnny Blaze was a better shithead character. Like the new guy or the guy they're using in this game is too nice. But I know that's also the juxtaposition of the character, so I'm sure that plays well in the comics. I'm just saying I want my Johnny Blaze. That guy's a dickhead. That's what I want Ghost Rider to be.
I think the Wolverine design is very Wolverine. It's not that far out there.
It's pretty hard to fuck up Wolverine.
Yeah. The only thing I was really looking for was, does it have if this sounds recognizable to people, the super long claws that wave when he kind of flex a bit when he's moving, and he does kind of have that. So I'm pretty happy with the Wolverine. I think a lot of the other character designs, I'm trying to think what else jumped out at me. Yeah, good Storm design. That's pretty cool.
Danger is a character that has looked so many different ways over the years that I kind of don't really. So
that's a real character.
So Danger, if I remember correctly, is the literal manifestation of the Danger Room.
And that's not invented for this?
No, that is a comics thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say 3 or 4 of the characters I'd never even heard of before, including that one.
I think Magic is a character we've talked about before. I don't know what version of Magic this is, or I'm not very familiar with
She's a relatively recent X person, but she is also, I think, a very popular member of the X team.
Okay. And then you got Captain America, Carnage, Green Goblin. Magneto just looks like Magneto to me.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say I'm a little bummed about the Magneto, not because of the character design, but just because Magneto is such a prominent presence in those like Marvel Capcom games. Like he is just so striking in those games. And here he just kind of looks normal. Like there really isn't anything that makes him feel like larger than life.
Yeah. And so there is, look, this is more, again, shift away from the competitive fighting scene more to what I am interested in some of these games, which is the story mode. They do some levels of trying to power balance characters. I think in this case, Wolverine has just come back from a giant battle and is supposed to be like healing still and not at 100%, because otherwise, how do you fight Wolverine? You know, like what do you do? Or like Magneto isn't necessarily there to just kill everyone.
Right.
Otherwise he would just kill a lot of people. I think he even says at some point, like, hey, I could just crush Wolverine. Like, this isn't going to be a fight. But you're there. I think there's something in the setup for this game, too, where like, hey, we're looking for great fighters, not people who just cheat or just kill people. You have to prove that you can actually fight, so don't just murder somebody.
Yep.
And again, Hulk being one of my favorite characters, Hulk you cannot defeat.
Yeah,
is my take.
You would think. I don't know. I mean, in the movies, he's actually a little bit more vulnerable than I feel like the comics generally set him up as. So
you do not defeat Hulk. You just put him somewhere else for a while. That is how I understand Hulk. That is why I love Hulk, because he is just this problem that you cannot get rid of. And sometimes he's a problem you need, and sometimes he's a problem you want to shove out into outer space and let him just go away for a while.
So it's worth noting they do not have a lot of DLC on the current horizon for this game. There is about a year's worth planned, and it's 4 characters in a stage. And the first one they announced is Phoenix Cyclops.
Okay.
Which
is that a real merged Cyclops?
So there's a team called the Phoenix 5, which I know nothing about, but it is a Avengers X-Men crossover thing. And the other members of that team, apart from Magic, who is already in the game, are Emma Frost, Namor, and Colossus. So it's possible those might be the other unannounced characters.
Be cool to get a Colossus in there.
I love Colossus in all forms.
I kind of like the little, I don't know if you guys have seen this. It does it when you go online. I think it also, like, I played some CPU matches and it did it there too. Like, it kind of makes like a fake comic book cover and team out of the 4 that you pick. And I don't know if it's got like, I guess it's got like preset titles for
like your group, your team name.
There was one led by, oh God, I am such not a comic book guy enough to describe. Who was it? No, it wasn't Doom. Who's the most like magician of the villains in that game?
I mean, Doom is pretty.
Maybe it was Dr. Doom that was the head of that. Anyway, it was called like it was like a country called. It was start with an L.
Latveria.
Yeah, that was it.
That's Dr. Doom's country.
Yeah. Oh, okay. See, this is. I don't know.
This is what I'm here for. This is the stuff I know.
But like the title of the person's team that I was playing against online was Latverian Mages, and it was like all Doom and Loki, and I'm trying to think. Basically, the most
like
sort
magical
of
characters,
magical characters in there, which I thought was neat. And at the end, I was just playing the default like Captain America team, and I lost. And the voiceover was like, "One day you will be Captain Latveria."
Okay, that's pretty funny.
And so like there's some neat like team matchup like auto and you know, you can skip past it, but the presentation and the match setup is you kind of see your little fake cover of an issue with your team on it and stuff.
And in the team up, the big like Tokon team up assemble thing, the presentation I think is also very fun there. Like everybody on your team lines up when you do your four team move, and then they all get a swipe in, and then your main character that you're playing as gets the final blow. And I think the presentation there is also pretty spectacular. And you know, if you're there for the spectacle, look, this game has quite a bit of
the style is there in spades. Like it's not as much of a ADHD blast as Fighters is, but it is a very stylish game with a lot of cool looking animation and everything. Like everything they do around the edges of just making the game look cool is all very good.
So yeah, for me, presentation, spectacle, story mode. I think story mode, I think the spectacle is pretty cool, and I like a lot of the designs. They have some alternate skins. There's like the classic. I think in one of the versions they sell now, you have the classic Iron Man skin, and when I say classic, I mean like 60s.
Yeah,
Iron
that's
Man.
the one I want, man. I want that one that looks like he just fucking put on like some plastic armor. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I'm sure they'll be doing. I don't know if that's in the roadmap, but they'll probably be selling skins all over the place.
I assume that like new skins are not part of like their main DLC roadmap. That's just shit they will throw out there whenever they feel like it.
But this is you probably, no offense, with all due respect to you guys, maybe for the actual like fighting game critique part, will this blow up at Evo? I don't know if that's our bag.
I think it will. I mean, ArcSys always does very well in the competitive scene. You know, like Fighters was still a very popular main stage game for a few years after it came out. So like that one had some tail on it. I mean, I haven't looked in deep to see like what the people who are just like, you know, combo digging right now are finding, and like, you know, what are the broken combinations? What are what's the big deal right now in the meta? I haven't even bothered to look at any of that stuff. The ranking of
characters.
Oh yeah, like I glanced at some discussion this morning and immediately saw somebody talking about like, oh, like Star-Lord zoners are a cancer on the game, like type stuff. You know, it's just like,
and that's how you know it'll be successful, because they've already identified that shit.
There's like definitely people angry about specific characters already. So
great. The other thing that I will say that is fun to me in the again, this is more on the narrative side, but each character has on the PlayStation 5 an R1 special that is usually unique to the character. Like Hulk does this clap, like almost like but it can increase his rage. I forget what Wolverine's is. I think it's also a rage meter that's a little bit different. Storm can control the direction of the wind by pushing R1. Every character does have a unique ability that is kind of cool and plays to the different unique strengths of that character, aside from just a special. It's kind of just a little unique thing that I like. But yeah, but
a cool game.
I'll say playing this, though I might not stick with it competitively, I'll probably finish out the story stuff, but it made me actually really want to get into that, get my hands on that Wolverine game. That's I
do just kind of want to be Wolverine right now.
I kind of wanted to see what that Wolverine's an interesting character, and how you put Wolverine into video games because of Wolverine's special properties that make him not invincible, but near invincible.
Hey, let's call him a challenge to deal with.
Yes, but also basically a punching bag, right? Like his, So I'm curious to see how that all works out. But that's Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, $60, $60 across the board, $60 on PC when I looked it up. PlayStation 5 and PC, put out by Sony. I also saw some people complaining on the PC side, and I didn't verify this, that might need a login or a
Sony
PlayStation
login
account. I don't know if that's 100% verified. I did see some people saying that some folks don't love that aspect of having to then make an account just to play the game on that side of things. And we know that was a problem that's come up on some of their other PC releases. I think Helldivers in particular.
Yeah, Helldivers is the one that they ate a bunch of shit over and then ended up relaxing that, but I'm sure that's how they're doing the crossplay here. So
yeah, and I'll say we all played on PS5, so if you're planning to get on PC and listening to this, go check out what people are saying on the PC side of things. That's where I have seen some of the friction happening there as well, so performance-wise or online-wise. But some of that stuff, this is a big release for them and a big release for PlayStation and Sony, so maybe that stuff will be patched in, and I don't think this is one that they sleep on in terms of performance. All right, should we move on from Marvel Tokon? That's one of the bigger releases of I would say even August, but of this week or last week. Let's keep going to maybe not as big a release, but a game that I have really enjoyed here. I think you guys knew about it before I did when we did the Planorama. Iron Nest. Heavy Turret Simulator.
I've been dying to actually hear how this is because people were talking up the demo a lot and I did not have a chance to play it, and I was like, I need to know what this is.
So this is the it is a game made by two people at most, possibly programmed by one. The other person may, I'm not exactly sure of the breakdown, may just be marketing, and they're credited as propaganda for the in the credits. It is what do we call this? Not steampunk, but what is the nomenclature for this? Steam dieselpunk, I think.
Yeah, this is like diesel punk, oil punk, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, like nasty machinery.
So it's basically like 40s World War II era technology.
Yes. It is. I think it's actually World War I, alternate universe Spain.
Okay.
You are quote unquote defending the monarchy. You are inside a gigantic turret, a dual-barreled, gigantic, mostly stationary turret. It can reposition in some places, but the main core of the gameplay is an artillery trajectory plotting game. And from what I read, this game was made by somebody who just loves artillery and has always wanted to make a game where you plot how to fire a shot. So you get your orders through like a teletype machine that comes through and prints them out, and they'll say like, hey, spotter has spotted this person at this bearing and this far away. Another spotter has spotted a target at this bearing and this far away. You have a giant table map. You start plotting the sight lines to triangulate where the target might be. You then pull a bunch of levers, push buttons to get a trajectory coordinates, calculate the angle that you need to raise the gun up to, calculate the amount of powder you need to put in, and then fire a shot eventually by pulling a bunch of levers and doing stuff, and then watch the shot go and see if you have hit the target or not. And then kind of rinse and repeat with various modifiers and effects, right? Hey, can you hit this target without hitting the other targets around it? Or we only have some information, so you need to kind of fire in a range to see how close you can get. It's pretty cool. It is. Yeah. It is also cool in that way that this person clearly gets what makes this interesting. With the aesthetics and the mechanic here. It's a great merging of a cool mechanic with some cool aesthetics, but it's like looking into a 90s FMV game. The graphics here are not necessarily going to be like, wow, this is like high fidelity.
I don't think that's what they're going for.
No, it's got this like almost 90s FMV. When you turn the gears, it looks like a movie's playing in the background with the gears moving. So it's a little, you'll pull up menus and be like, wow, that font doesn't seem like it fits inside the borders or such and such and such and such. But you overlook it all because this just feels like a passion project and well implemented from what I played. So I've actually really enjoyed it. I was playing with a controller, probably not the ideal way to play it, but it does work. Mouse and keyboard would probably be a bit more ideal to play it.
Certainly.
It's Iron Nest Heavy Turret Simulator. It's $20 on the PC. I think it's very cool. You should go watch some videos about what it is. If it is not a mech game.
Right.
This is not. This is
This
more
is about
of
something else.
Yeah, this is a heavy machinery pulling levers and
stationary.
Not necessarily math.
It's a
not
trigonometry game.
Yeah.
It's a calculus game.
Kind of, but you don't have to. You don't have to be good at math for it, right? Like, you can
plotting
bomb
angles.
You can bomb your way into victory from what I played of it. So yeah, a lot of fun there. Iron Nest Heavy Turret Simulator. Recommend checking it out if that sounds interesting to you. Alex, you played some Agent 64 Spies Never Die?
Yes, another entry in the they're not going to make any more of these, so I guess we'll just make our own one of these. Specifically, the one of these they're talking about is a GoldenEye.
Just kind of shameless GoldenEye.
Like shame I don't even think enters the conversation. They know exactly what they're doing, and they are dedicated to doing the best version of it that they can.
Okay. And how does that work out?
I can't remember if is this the first one of these? There might have been one other.
This is the most prominent one that I've seen so far, if there have been others.
What's the experience like?
So it's very much like you are this older spy. You are going in and you are doing missions a la GoldenEye. I mean, it's not like literally GoldenEye. Like, as far as I've encountered thus far, there has not been a big snowy Russia part yet, but that could still be coming. I don't know. There is a castle level that basically it's so The Matrix Reloaded that I almost wanted to scream when I heard the soundtrack, which is the most. We just took that one battle music from The Matrix Reloaded and slightly remixed it track I've ever heard in a video game.
Great.
So they're playing it at different nostalgic strings than just GoldenEye, but the gameplay and the design of it is 100% that. It is that swimmy, single stick kind of first-person shooter, which you can play with a mouse and keyboard. You can play with a regular controller if you want to, and it'll still do the one stick thing if you wanted to. I did attempt to use my USB Nintendo-oriented N64 controller and plug it in. Doesn't work 100% in its current state. I don't know if that's because this controller is never officially going to be supported by PC or what, but there was some weird button configuration stuff I could not make work, and they don't have finite button controls for controllers yet in that game.
Oh, like you can't go in and just remap?
No,
everything?
you can remap keyboard buttons, but controllers you can't remap currently. So maybe they'll change that over time. But here's the real thing.
Yeah.
There's 3 difficulties for every mission. Agent, secret agent, and, fuck you agent, basically.
Yeah.
On agent, it's pretty easy, no matter what control scheme you're using. And I think that's by design. It's very much just get used to the level, figure out where everything kind of is. You get more power-ups and things that you can use to survive. The middle difficulty is pretty hard. Not impossible, but it definitely feels like it ramps up in a big way and definitely dials into that you are memorizing the level, you are memorizing every enemy placement, you are doing your best not to get shot ever, if you can. And so I found that to be pretty exciting, actually. Like, it's tough, but it's fun. And the thing is, the missions generally run between, like, some of the times are like, hey, if you can beat this in, like, 2 minutes, that's, like, an objective if you can do it. But they're generally, like, if your first time through, I'd say it's somewhere between, like, 8 and 12 minutes, probably, for a level.
Okay, it's not a huge ask.
No.
Right. And soundtrack, you said, sounds like it's borrowing from a bunch of different things.
Yeah, I mean, it's all thematic. Like, it definitely has a little bit of that rarecore going on, electronica style stuff, but, like, it feels like they're referencing other things from around the same time.
And you didn't do any multiplayer, I assume.
So it has full online, too, in addition to, I assume, what must be, like, some kind of co-op configuration. But, yes, it has multiplayer. I've not tried to mess with it yet. It does have easy anti-cheat, and they ask you, like, hey, do you want this on or off when you load up? So
yeah, just like the original.
Hang on. Sorry, I saw people talking about EAC in the user reviews. Oh, they have added a mode where you can play it without EAC, apparently.
There's a prompt when you load it up that's like, hey, do you want this on right now or not?
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Optional,
Optional.
but it probably locks you out of a different mode.
I think you can't play the multiplayer without it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. But so, like, the actual gameplay is tight. Like, the AI is dumb in the right ways and smart in the right ways. And I feel like they were single-minded about trying to create the specific GoldenEye-style shooter experience, and that single-mindedness has mostly worked in its favor.
Agent 64, Spies Never Die, $21 right now on the PC, though, there is a sale there, of course,
Yes.
as all things on Steam must have.
So if you hate GoldenEye, you're going to get nothing
Yeah.
out of this, and that's fine. But I will say, if you have any nostalgia at all for it, I feel like they are tugging at the right strings with it, and the design and the actual, like, gameplay feels pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I love, like, this and the Star Fox stuff that has come out. Like, I find,
64
PlayStation
core
stuff we've talked about. Yeah, and, like, people doing PlayStation stuff, and I love when folks find their spot to remake their games in.
So now someone just needs to make a new Space Station Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that's what the
That
world is
popular
calling for.
N64
Yeah,
game everyone
yeah.
remembers.
That's what they want. That's
Mhm.
what they want.
Glover. Give me a new Glover.
Let's see. Oh, Alex, you and I and Abby played finally some the incident at Galley House. This is a for lack of a better reference point right now, is a root trees like, which means you are presented with a mystery on its server. It's a mystery game, and you are trying to figure out people, places, names, profiles for folks, and basically add them to a roster of identification. You're trying to identify a bunch of things to then flesh out this mystery. It is a layer on top of that also, and this is not necessarily a unique thing to this game, where it's almost a code system for putting together vignettes that have happened in the past.
Yeah.
So the setup for this game is you have some supercomputer. Something happened in the 30s.
The crime is from like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually say what year you are in, but it is somewhere in the era of analog computing, and the crime happened at least 50 years prior.
Yeah, and you have some, I don't even know analog computing. You have some weird machine that if you input enough information, you can revisit a moment in time.
When I say analog computing, I mean there's literally a big lever you push to make the scene go.
That's
so
true.
yes,
and then the sparks of electricity fly out. You have a crime computer, let's say.
Yeah.
And so basically you will enter in a code, essentially, which might be like, hey, at a scene 5, so 5 in the living room, so 5 LI, give me characters 2, 7, and 9.
And see if that works.
And you pull the lever, and if that all works out, then you are presented with a scene that takes place and some dialogue.
Yeah.
So some folks were saying, and I didn't know this, that this is a recreation, and I have not verified this, but this is what we heard, of an older game, a text-based game.
Yes.
Which I can see how that might work. This one is fully voiced. It is graphical in nature.
I mean, it's static images of the characters, but yeah, I mean, there's a whole, like, there's a visualization element to this.
It's really cool. It is of that type of game where you are then parsing through an interaction to try and be like, oh, okay, this person's saying their daughter's name is Annie, right? And then, like, you might write that down and be like, I don't know this person's name, but they're the father of Annie. And then later on, you might be like, Annie might say, my father's name is Jim. And you'd be like, oh, shit, that guy's name was Jim. All right, let's go back and plug that in. Or this person has a burn on their hand, and like you might go and find this kind of info.
It's in that social deduction wheelhouse of stuff like root trees and whatnot, but I feel like it's also a little bit in conversation with like some of the Sam Barlow style of like building a timeline of stuff using kind of stuff out of time from one another. Like I think there's a little bit of that in there as well.
Yeah, and maybe less, but a sprinkling of like Golden Idol, like that kind of. Hey, you're not doing the kind of Golden Idol thing of like putting verbs and stuff into a Mad Libs, but it is that style of game and deduction game that I really enjoy, and I think the presentation, the way they do it, really adds a lot of special sauce to this one. It takes it from being just another deduction game to being something quite unique with its presentation and that crime computer. And there's a nice physicality to turning the knobs the computer to be like click, 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 click.
Yeah.
Put this in and then pull the lever and see if we got something.
And like the acting is like good. I wouldn't call it amazing,
Yeah.
but it definitely hits the notes of the characters, and everyone sounds like differentiated well enough from each other. You can tell this is a different character, even if you don't know who they are.
And lastly, it feels modern, where there are a lot of quality of life things in this game that make it fun to play. Where you can when you click a certain area, it works the way you think it would work to add information, right? Like, I can just go into the transcript of the conversation and change their name here once, and it propagates throughout the entire game. And that's a great little quality of life thing. So when it says speaker 1, you're like, speaker 1 is Jim. Now speaker 1 will always be Jim in all the areas of the game, and that's a great thing. It just seems to work the way you'd intuitively think it should work. That is Incident at Galley House. We're playing that on Tuesdays. Abby and Alex of Crime Crew fame have allowed me to ride shotgun.
I mean, you've done stuff with us before. It's just now I think we are officially inviting you into the detective agency.
This is trial run here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll keep on crime crewing through that. I don't know how long that game is. It's hard to tell.
I heard it was around like 8 hours or so.
Okay. So yeah, I've enjoyed it as it is so far. That game is $20. It's available on the PC. Incident at Galley House seems very, very cool so far. Let me just check in here quickly. The other things I have are just kind of check-ins. I played more Big Walk. This time I played it with my 2 kids. I had played it with my daughter previously. I had played it with you, Alex, previously. So I had only done 2-player puzzles. And we had kind of suspected when we were playing some of the puzzles how they might scale to more players. It's exactly what we talked about and how they might scale. So instead of having 2 buttons at a thing, they have 3 buttons at a thing. Instead of passing a thing once, you pass a thing 2 times or 3 times. So far it seems like the way I imagined, or we had imagined the puzzles would scale with more players, is exactly how those puzzles would scale. I don't think I have noticed in the early sections, all the puzzles were exactly the same except scaled up. So it wasn't like, oh, this is a unique puzzle for 3 people. Maybe that changes with 4. I'm starting to come to the now played it with 2 people, 3 people. I think I would have the most fun in that game with a full team of 8. I think or I'd have to see how they do a team of 5 or 6, because we talked about maybe some puzzles. Brad, I think you mentioned this, right? Like 4, and then it's 4 plus is the same, right? As 4.
I think I read that, but I can't say for sure.
That would make sense to me after seeing some of the puzzles where like, oh, I'm not sure how you'd go scale past 4 on this. So if you had 4 plus, at 5, you probably have somebody who's just a pack mule, who's just carrying items, not really participating all the time in the puzzles. But at 8, you can break up into teams and go off into separate places. And I do wonder if there's a way at 4 people, if you can say, I would prefer it to be puzzles set at 2 because I would like to break up into teams. Because that so much of that game feels like there are things built into the environments that are made to communicate over long distances, like walkie-talkies and flare guns and all of these things. But when you need everybody for a puzzle, I haven't found a lot of reason to separate often, unless the puzzle calls for it. So it seems cool to have walkie-talkies, but then we always wind up just being near each other, and the walkie-talkies take up an inventory, a very limited inventory space. But it would be great if you had another team that was like, man, yeah, where are you guys? So I'd love to see how that all shakes out, or if you can set that to be something that you can say, hey, I have 4 people, but I want to be playing in the 2-player version of the game,
right?
To kind of do that. So we'll see. We're gonna play more of that with my family.
A gang arranged for later.
I think we're trying to pull together a gang of people to play, not necessarily for streaming, but just to kind of check it out more.
See what a bigger group looks like.
Apparently that game has sold very well.
Yes, it is doing very well for them.
Over 1 million already, even without the PlayStation freebie.
So yeah, I'm curious to see how that all goes, and I would be curious to see how they said they would go in and maybe look at the volume of the voice stuff as well, because the proximity chat, huge part of that game. Lastly here, in the check-in department, not not an expected game, but I found myself playing some Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, a game that I thought was kind of middling when it came out. I guess the online for that game has continued to be pretty robust or fairly popular. My son came back from camp and was like, "Hey, do you have Space Marine 2?" My friend was talking about it. And
I guess there are worse things you could hear after coming back from summer camp.
Yeah, look, at what age do you talk to your kid about 40k fandom, right? Like that is definitely a thing that we have gone through before with Helldivers, right? Like, hey, do you get what's going on here? And I think he understands that the Space Marines are not the good guys here. We've talked about it. So
won't be joining the Empire anytime soon, is what you're saying.
There was a meme going around recently or something I saw that was an image of like a 40k convention and all the different people who might show up there, pictures of people that might show up there, ranging from what you might think to people who are just like, I just think they're cool, to like, anyway, we wound up playing, I was like, you should play Space Marine 1 first, which I think personally is a better game. So we wound up playing the original version of that because I'm not sure how I didn't own the like remastered version of that. And then he played Space Marine 2, which is a much shorter game, but set up for multiplayer and co-op. So then I wound up playing some PvE with him. That game is really cool. I think I'm going to wind up playing a lot more of that with him. It is kind of a really fun PvE experience. And people had said it at the time. I just didn't love the single player because I really like Space Marine. Didn't love the single player of Space Marine 2, and then this kind of put it down. But coming back to it, it's like pretty well done. I really liked it. So I'm curious if people have kept up with it. The funny story about us jumping back into it, that game came out in 2024. I played with him, let's say Sunday or something like that. We played, joined the co-op. He played it on Monday, was about to finish the game. The game has a co-op single player. And then was like, all right, he's like, hey, do you have time to join me for the last mission? It was like Tuesday morning or something like that. I was like, yeah, I got like a half hour, an hour. I could join you. Could not join his game. I was like, oh man, this is like broken. Like, what's up? He's playing on PlayStation 5. I was playing on the PC. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, dude. It's like not working. I was like, this is weird. Like, check your version number. 6 hours prior was an update for that game. I don't know if they have been updating that game on the regular for the last 2 years, or we just happened to hit a patch time coincidentally over the course of 2 years late game. But I was a 0.1 version ahead, and he was on, I think, Xbox, and it hadn't rolled out on the consoles yet, right? So so we were like, I tried reinstalling it on the console.
I bet it's the latter. I bet it's you just hit a very bad timing because
we had a bad timing.
Patches are always going to come out on PC first.
So what happened was, as he was playing, we couldn't get it to work. We couldn't force a patch update on the console. As he was playing, he got kicked, and then it patched, and then he just finished it up. But it was kind of a bummer. It was his last mission I was going to do with him. Maybe we just happened to hit a... I don't know if like this is the first patch in a year or this thing gets patched every 2 months, So anyway, weird story with Space Marine 2, but... What's not weird?
Hotfix 14.1, you mean?
Yep, hotfix 14.1, which I guess was a hotfix for patch 14, where I don't know that when that came out.
Hey, real quick here on the subject of Warhammer.
I'm
going to tread carefully here because I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis. But you remember back at Summer Games Fest when I said there was a game that had an indefinite embargo? I saw.
Have you still not had that embargo?
I've never gotten any notification that embargo has ever been up. So I'm not going to give any opinions about what I saw or anything here. I'm not going to actually violate the embargo. But I'm going to say that was fucking total Warhammer, and I'm still waiting and wondering why the fuck can I not talk about that yet?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to that game. I don't know. I don't think it has a date. I think it's still
I don't need but
TBD.
But they said, hey, we'll be back to you, ahead of, Gamescom and everything else, and they have not gotten back to me about anything. So I'm just sitting here on a powder keg of, a beautiful
I would love to hear your opinions on it,
information. I can't give it to you.
Well, I think that Dawn of War 4 does have a date. I think that is that 2026?
I don't know. There's 17 Warhammer games coming out every week.
Those are the big ones. The big ones are the Total Warhammer game, Total War Warhammer, and Dawn of War 4 are the big ones that are.
Yeah, that's coming out in December.
Okay. Looking forward to that as well.
I just feel like 2 months later, I'm like, hey guys, can we do something?
Maybe
some of what I saw was in one of your trailers, by the way. I'm just going to say, like, that stuff's already kind of out there.
I'm kind of with you. I don't think we've ever had something that kind of
It's just confusing.
They must have a beta that they're trying to get people into and time information around then. Yeah, we'll see. The Warhammer verse, I think we talked about this recently on a stream. The only other thing we could think of, or that I could think of, for a licensed property that could compete with Star Wars in terms of number of games made.
If you're counting all things Warhammer and not splitting out regular from 40K, then yes, I think they might almost win.
No, I think Star Wars still wins.
I said almost.
Yeah. But it's the only thing I can think of in contention for licensed number of properties. I think that's it. Do you guys have anything else you want to add in the gaming zone?
Nah, that's been most of it.
Yeah, we got probably another week here in of August. I think we just did that Planorama. Some stuff coming out towards the end of August, like the Metal Gear collection. That Blood Dungeon is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Aliens Fireteam Elite 2.
Oh, there's much on the horizon.
A couple of games there, but then it's September,
and then hell,
and then
it's gaming heaven and hell all at once.
Yeah, and then September, where a lot of heavy hitters moved out of the way for what we'll talk about when we come back from this break. That Grand Theft Auto spectacle, the spectacle of Grand Theft Auto. So stick around. We're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back with the news after this. All right, we are back, and we have a weird mix of news this week. Some of it, all of it, I think, very telling of where the video game industry is trying to position itself or the struggles within. Beginning with this story from Juggernaut, Rockstar, and Netflix.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Alex?
All right, look, we all know we're on the verge of GTA 6. As is often Rockstar's want, they have shown precious little of the actual game since they announced it, 1,000 years ago? And and now there's been like 2 trailers, one of which actually had anything in it. And so, the way Rockstar has always done this is that they always do a big blitz for their next big game within the few months before it comes out. And in this case, the big blitz is not doing some sort of exclusive with IGN or even like the Game Awards or any other going concerns. No, it's fucking Netflix. And what we are getting is Grand Theft Auto 6, an extended look, a special video presentation, cultural extravaganza, example of prime hubris, I don't know what exactly, on August 27th, which will basically be, do you want to see all the gameplay stuff we would normally just put in like a big long trailer on YouTube? Here you go.
Yeah, I think they're calling it an extended look. And this premieres first on Netflix, and then I think 6 hours later comes to the Rockstar Games YouTube channel.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be everywhere else.
Yeah, and so 2 things are very interesting to me about this. One more funny than the other. The less funny one is like, really? Are we gating commercials for your game? Is this big enough behind
just answer that question right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I bet they're going to reach a lot of people that they wouldn't otherwise.
I'm sure they will.
No, they're not. Because Rockstar can reach anyone they want to if they care to.
Well, they're going to get there. This is the thing. They're going to get there 6 hours later with YouTube. But
6 hours is a really funny exclusivity window, by the way.
I bet this gets pretty prime placement in the Netflix app, though. Like, I bet everybody that opens their Netflix app for like 3 days is going to see that right there.
Yes, yeah. I agree. I think this is for Netflix, this is a thing that will people sign up for Netflix to get this?
Absolutely not.
Probably not.
No,
but will it get prime placements, and will it reach people that were like, oh, there's a new Grand Theft Auto 6. I haven't been paying attention.
That's exactly it. Are there people opening a Netflix app that are not just going to YouTube as a matter of habit all the time? surely.
Will they be confused and think that there's a Grand Theft Auto 6 movie coming out
Maybe.
or
Yes.
series? Probably.
Will this thing be up on torrent sites 15 minutes after it appears on Netflix? Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
yeah. People are. I'm sure people are going to go post this to their YouTube accounts before the official YouTube account gets it.
So I was going to say the second thing that's funny is having people that I have seen talk about and be like, yeah, no, this is like weirdly like an upcoming thing popped into my Plex server for this weird thing because people
I didn't know we were putting game trailers on my Plex server now, but okay.
Because they are already anticipating this release of this game trailer to hit sites and then propagate to Plex servers. It's just a weird thing. Do I hate it as much as I hate like commercials that get gate kept like this, because it is a commercial in the end. This isn't the product.
Well, I wonder if it is more than just a commercial, because I wonder if they're ever going to show this game to press before it comes out.
Well, even still,
Well,
it
they
would
don't
just
have
be
to,
a,
but-
I mean, typically they would
promotional
have,
material.
is what I'm saying. Typically they would have. In fact, this is right around the time they would be doing that if they were going to. I'm looking like Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, that game came out around the same time frame, and September 20th, 2018 is when all the hands-on previews for that game ran.
Mm-hmm.
And like we went to see GTA 5 in a hotel not too long, like handful of months before it came out. I mean, we didn't play it in that case. We watched them play it for like an hour. But the point is, it's crazy to think their last big game came out 8 years ago. Red Dead Redemption 2 was 8 years ago at this point. But what I'm saying is, like, traditionally they have shown these games to press and let them play them at some point before they came out.
yes.
And I wonder if that's just not going to happen this time. I wonder if this is if this is all we're getting in that vein before release.
Well, so I mentioned hubris before, and the thing is, I'm joking about that because I don't think hubris exists for something like Grand Theft Auto 6. I think they can do whatever the fuck they want, however they want to promote it,
They
because
absolutely
there's
can.
nothing limiting them in terms of getting that. Everyone wants to know about it, so they can put it wherever the fuck they want, and people will flock to it. The bigger thing to me is that the only reason to do this is not because of Netflix viewership somehow being this gateway to an audience that otherwise wouldn't be paying attention to GTA 6. What this is they realized they could auction this off to the highest bidder. They realized that they could just get a nice chunk of change putting this somewhere and getting some kind of exclusivity window, and I'm sure Netflix was way more lucrative than some traditional media outlet or somewhere else. And so, because again, the pre-orders for that game are astronomical. Everyone knows about Grand Theft Auto 6, and the ones that don't will know about it 5 minutes after it comes out because everyone will be screaming about it for months afterward. This is just a way for them to get a nice little payday while also finally throwing some meat out there for people who are just desperate to know anything about this.
I also saw there was a separate headline that apparently pre-orders for this are tacking toward the $100 deluxe edition
Really?
the majority of pre-orders rather than the $80 regular one.
Not surprised.
I can't think of a bigger platform than Netflix that they're not already going to reach people on. Obviously, like YouTube is enormous,
Right.
but everybody on YouTube is going to see this already. You know, like I'm trying to think of a bigger platform that wouldn't already have this on it, and I can't think of one.
Maybe
No,
like
in
an
the past
Amazon.
era,
Maybe
it
like an
could've been
Amazon
TV.
Prime or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the viewership numbers are for. You're talking like front page when you load up an app, right?
I don't know. I mean, I guess Prime, because everybody has Prime just for the shipping and stuff. So I'm sure but I don't know how many of those people are using the Prime Video service.
And Prime's going to be promoting Grand Theft Auto 6 to sell the codes or whatever, digital codes. They'll have their banner on there because it'll help Amazon. So yeah, maybe this might make sense. Look, again, despite whether press gets hands-on or not beforehand, I still look at this as a purely promotional thing to move copies of. Yeah, and gatekeeping some of that behind a subscription. The tiering of the way information gets disseminated these days in the commercial space is weird.
For 6 hours, I don't.
For 6 hours,
whatever.
right? Like, am I going to die on this hill? Am I that upset about it? No.
If it was like a day, or if it was like 3 days or a week or something, of course, I mean, at that point, it would just get circulated. Like Alex said, it would just get torrented immediately.
Pass the tape.
Dude, that whole thing will be on Twitter 15 minutes after it appears on Netflix.
Absolutely.
Though I wonder how Rockstar will be with some of the policing of that. If they'll be like, dude, it's the commercial. Let them put the commercial up.
Well, Yeah, I mean, yes, but also they are walking into a somewhat unfamiliar online environment, though, because back then, takedown notices used to mean something. But in, let's just say, Elon Musk's X era, dude, whole ass movies are on there for like weekends at a time before someone finally gets around to pulling that shit down. I don't know what kind of stroke you need to have to actually get shit having instantly over there.
Maybe you tell Elon you're going to give him an advanced copy, and if you just take that stuff down, I bet he would do it.
Yeah, he's stupid enough to believe it. Go for it. Yeah.
So I mean, look, it's not like the Netflix is selling advanced access to notifications about market changes on some kind of social media platform to only benefit the richest people in the world. This is not
that
what
would be
doing.
unacceptable.
Nobody would do that. That would be ridiculous. But this is a trivial thing that is just weird. Like, it's just a weird thing.
I think it's very unfair to, give favoritism to Netflix owners on the Kalshi market that are going to be betting on what is going to be shown in the Grand Theft Auto, video exclusive to Netflix.
That's right. Yeah, right. I will probably just watch this on YouTube. I don't have a Netflix subscription.
I will torrent it 5 minutes after it comes out.
I mean, it would. I think that is the probably the more interesting thing to me is like how quickly do the tapes get passed around? Like, is it live? Are people just going to restream this like as it's broadcasting?
You can web DL very quickly if you have the right tools. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, live reacts to this thing. Will streams come down? I don't know. That it's a silly thing, but if you are interested and in checking that out, the dates on that again are the 27th, August 27th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. That is the Netflix premiere, or you can wait for the YouTube version, which will be I think it's 9 p.m. This story, I think there's 6 p.m. Eastern. Yes, 9 p.m. Eastern. They put BT in this Video Games Chronicle story, but it is 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube on the same day, the 27th. Silly. Okay. Let's talk about Devolver Digital. Speaking of weird things that you don't often see, Devolver Digital, a game that is, a publisher and company that is traded on the alternative investment market, which I didn't know existed. Acronymed AIM.
Well, it's part of the London Stock Exchange.
Brad, you wouldn't have heard of it. It's like kind of indie, kind of underground. You wouldn't know about these investments.
I've been trading on AIM for ages now. You should check out my AIM name, Shaggy Ding Dong. Brad, what is Devolver Digital looking to do here?
Devolver Digital has applied to be delisted from the London Stock Exchange.
Wow.
And their reasoning is pretty interesting in light of what's been going on in the industry, which is like, in so many words, to say that the expectations around quarterly earnings reporting and short-term and endless growth are not compatible with game development and with the way they do business.
I thought that was a super interesting reason, an explicit reason to come out and say this.
Now, yes. I mean, if you read below the fold, and shout out to the story on Game Developer where I read this, where they did some of this work. There's also the part where Devolver has lost 90% of its share value in the last, I forget how long it's been since they went public. 2021, so not that long. Their share price is down over 90% in the last 5 years. So there is that detail as well to take into account here in this effort. But I mean, they kind of address that in their messaging to shareholders by saying like, hey, we've had earnings growth. Like,
right.
Earnings from 24 to 25 increased, and they are on track to increase again this year. We've had operational efficiency improve. We've cut costs. Like, we're doing well, but not. I mean, I haven't looked at the numbers here to really be able to say how seriously to take them about this. But they basically are saying like, hey, we're making money, but we're not making like sexy stock market huge growth money.
Yeah,
and our stock is taking a drubbing over that.
And
so what if we just weren't in the market? What if we just were not publicly traded anymore?
And I think they also kind of either explicitly or kind of allude to the fact that the market doesn't reward the kind of business we're in, where it's just like like long-term projects.
Slow and steady is not really what people are looking for.
And there's also some extra lip service paid to just the state of the game's business right now, in particular, being extremely volatile and unpredictable, and game development is not something that you can necessarily put a time frame on. Like, it's like length of development timelines can be unpredictable is the language around that here.
Yeah, and every quarter you're not going to have a hit, right? You're not going to have steady growth.
Like games might get delayed, or like it's a hit-driven business, and you don't know what's going to be hits, et cetera, et cetera. The language they used here is that there is a, quote, valuation disconnect between where the market is pegging their value at and like what they think they're delivering and what the games business can sustain. It's just kind of interesting to see happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see this is a good story by game developer. I would like to see a little bit more in depth about how the logistics of this work. Like, do you have to sell back? Do you have to use company funds to buy back
that's
shares?
That is in their messaging to shareholders. That's quoting the game developer story. This would result in a proposed return of capital of up to $5 million in cash to qualifying shareholders and holders of depository interests.
Yeah. So how does that work? Do you just basically cash out?
I mean, it's basically how the EA thing went when it went private. Recently is, anybody holding stock is paid some arrived upon value for the share value.
And then your share is just, you tear it up. You're just,
then you're no longer an owner of a portion of the company.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. I don't know what that is, any kind of portent for other companies looking at this, or this is just a unique case for Devolver here.
Yeah. It's interesting to me to see this because there are a lot of layoffs, a lot of downsizing, a lot of big and lamentable and kind of vicious moves being made by a lot of large companies, publicly traded companies these days.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get a little frustrated though, like taking an individual CEO to task for layoffs. It just feels futile to me because it feels like basically asking a shark not to eat whatever's in front of it when it smells blood.
Right, their only goal here is to make money.
Right, it's like if that CEO was not there and they put somebody else in their place, they would do the same. It's the system
legally obligated, right?
It's like this. Well, yeah, I mean, I can't really speak to fiduciary duty and all that stuff, but that's kind of what I mean. It's the system doing what the system is designed to do.
Right.
To the point that if they didn't do that, the board would oust them and put in somebody who would. You know what I mean? It's like the system itself is the problem. It's the individual actions.
Well, the part we also give them $30 million bonuses for doing all of that. That part also is pretty grotesque.
That's part of the system, I think.
That's what I mean. Is this is for the people running this whole thing. This is all working as intended. Like they're not going to change their behavior because they're being rewarded for it. What I'm saying is this is a company actually just saying, you know what, this is not compatible with the way games need to be made, and we are going to make moves to just take ourselves out of this thing. That's what I mean. It's like they are recognizing the systemic problem here and just saying, let's just remove ourselves from that.
Which is also interesting because I personally, on a consumer side, look at Devolver Games as a successful product, right? Usually their hits are still interesting to me as Devolver as a company, where I'm like, oh yeah, if it has a Devolver published side to it, their curation is usually still good enough where I will go check it out, right?
Well, they have longevity in a space where there just aren't that many, indie publishers that have been around as long as them and sustained as long as they have.
Yeah, they developed an incredible knack for picking good games, or for putting out you kind of. They were the first boutique indie publisher where people were just like, oh, there's kind of a Devolver House style that you can identify now.
Yeah,
and they're good at sticking to that and doing what they do. But so that's, I guess that would further flesh out my point here is that when you're a private company, you don't have to be growing all the time. You could the leadership of the private company can 100% determine how much money they need to make above and beyond how much it takes to run the company, right? It's
as far as we understand,
if you are 1% in the black on your profit margin or whatever, it's that's as long as you can keep the company going and everybody's happy with that, then fine. There's no external shareholders with an expectation of some huge return on their investment yelling at you about you're not making enough money, even though you're making money, you're not making enough to make them happy. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, even for a lot of companies, they are deep in the red, before they go public. Every tech company that is just hemorrhaging cash, but the promise that they will someday turn a dime.
Right. So, I guess this has to go through some kind of approval. I don't know if it's regulatory or otherwise, but if this happens, it could be as soon as mid-September when they stop trading publicly and go private. But it's just interesting to see a company of this scale, because they were valued at almost $1 billion when they went public, which again small fraction of that now, but like just the idea that some companies are just going like, wait a minute, this, especially in the current environment, like delivering eternal, huge month over, quarter over quarter growth is just not realistic. Like we need to run this business in a way that is sustainable for the people running the company and doing the work.
I think it's a really, I agree with you. Very interesting take, because also, again, kind of wondering if there would be a deeper dive into the thought process here, though this is a very good story that is reported here from a game developer. But if they had stuck in this, what would that even, like, would they have to have trimmed so much that it would have put them in a death spiral eventually, where you can't pull out, right? Because you need to eke out profit at the expense of your product. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a business guy. There certainly could be people who are like, yeah, of course they'd say this because their share price is, what is it? It's minuscule,
Mm-hmm.
But, and maybe they didn't have a choice here. I don't know. But still, like the rationale reads as sound to me regardless.
Yeah. Yes. A company that is doing layoffs to, I guess, stay and maintain sustainability, as they self-proclaim here, is Supermassive Games. Supermassive, you may remember, the fine purveyors of the Dark Pictures anthology. They just had Directive 8020, a game that I thought was okay.
It wasn't their best work.
Yeah. They are going to be laying off 75 staff members. I tried to find an estimate of how many people they might have in their studio. It sounded like maybe around 130 to 150 as far as estimates go. They had earlier layoffs, so it sounds like maybe they had closer to 250, and so they're kind of coming down in scope there. They are owned, I don't know if you guys know this, but they are owned by a Nordisk Film, which has a Nordisk game division. That company also owned by Egmont Group, but Nordisk Games owns Avalanche, the Just Cause people. And they have investments in companies like Mercury Steam, the people who put out American McGee Scrapland and the remaster, just because I think we had mentioned American McGee here in the near past. So they are not, they've got a chain of people that they answer to as well. Plus, you may be listening to this being like, Supermassive. Wait, you mean the Until Dawn folks, the folks that have Until Dawn 2 coming out soon. No. They'll be developed by Firesprite.
Yes.
That is
the makers of the Until Dawn remake.
That's right. Though Until Dawn was Supermassive, they did not own that property, and Firesprite will be handling the Until Dawn 2 property or game that is coming out. So, while I still really like Supermassive, obviously that is not a great sign, when you have to do some layoffs. I hope they figure it out. I still think they make some really cool games.
Yeah, I think the key thing to this, though, is that this doesn't seem like it is necessarily tied to any specific thing. It's just the thing that every studio is going through right now, where if your game is not a massive success, you are trying to weather the storm.
Yeah, and the storm is here.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens with them. Best of luck to everyone affected by the layoffs. And they will be, they say that they're going to try and provide support to people. They put out a notice. What do you call those? The screenshot of a text thing on social media.
Notes app.
Yeah, a notes app thing that, hey, they're going to try and support people as they look for transitioning and, help people that are going to be leaving the company. So we'll see how that shakes out. But best of luck to everybody out there.
Yeah, that always seemed like a kind of scrappy studio to me.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure how many people they actually had. Right. 75 almost sounded like a lot.
Right. When I saw that number, I was like, that's got to be a pretty big fraction of that studio, because I'm guessing this is not a huge team, and it's a lot of labor of love making games like that, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we'll see. They at the end of 8020, they teased another game, so they always have a little bit of a teaser for their next game. So there is something in development, or at least purportedly in development for their next game. It was like the VHS game, Alex, if you remember, the Ring style one. So I really hope they figure it out. I would. Nobody quite does what they're doing, so it would be a real shame if they couldn't pull it off. All right. Lastly here, our last bit of news here, there is a Halloween game, Halloween the game.
Yes, Ilphonic making it.
Ilphonic with, whatever capacity John Carpenter is in this. He's
executive producer is what they're calling him.
Could mean anything.
It is a man who signed some paperwork so that they could do this, and he is happy to collect a check.
Yeah, it usually means your name is on it and you're getting money out of it.
Yeah. Michael Myers also an executive producer on this game. This game has a single player mode, but really it's an
asymmetrical multiplayer game.
Yeah,
coming kind of after those are not really super in style these days.
This really feels like it has to be one of those latecomers, like, this was already in production, we need to finish it and get it out, but it's, the market may not be there so much now.
If it's good, I'm sure it'll get some people interested in it, but Ilphonic, I can't remember. They made that Predator one of those that was not very good, but then they made another one that I think actually was better, and I can't remember which one that was. Was that Evil Dead?
Might have been Evil Dead. I don't remember who made Evil Dead. I thought Evil Dead was okay.
Yeah. It was the Predator one was not good, but I feel like the one they made after that, it felt like they learned some lessons.
It's just like literally every horror franchise from the 70s to the 90s has gotten one of these at this point. Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't think Nightmare on Elm Street ever got one, did it? But that would have been cool, actually.
Not as of this juncture. I think Freddy was in Dead by Daylight, as all horror icons are required to eventually show up there for service. So, yeah.
And Nick Cage, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this game is supposed to be coming out on September 8th across all the consoles and the PC, but not in Australia and New Zealand, and it is not because it is too gory. It is not because the slashing is too much for the Australians and New Zealanders. Can I say Kiwis? Is that a thing?
Think they generally. I don't think that is in any way a derisive term.
I say it lovingly, and I say that they could probably handle all of these things. It is because, according to the studio Ilphonic, because of the representation of a controlled substance, that substance reportedly weed.
Yeah.
And Ilphonic has not gone out and explicitly confirmed how this presence of a controlled substance is used in the game, but a report on a horror site, Bloody Disgusting, posted back in March, says that according to this podcast, Slash and Cast, smoking weed in Halloween allows you to see Michael's pings across the map and can give you an advantage.
I see no fault with this science whatsoever.
What, Alex? Is there any canonical reason why smoking weed allows you to feel where Michael Myers is?
So I'm going to say this with the caveat that I have not watched any of the movies past Halloween 3, the exception being the more recent David Gordon Green stuff, in a very long time. So I could not tell you if there is actually some minor plot point in one of the later ones where like some kid can see through time because he's fucking smoking weed. That said, there are a lot of stoner teens in those movies that get hacked to bits by Michael Myers, as is generally the style.
Is this the one nugget John Carpenter came in and said, you know what I'd like to see in this? What if you smoke weed and see Michael Myers? And they were like,
this is not out of character for our friend Johnny Carp. He is definitely a big fan of getting on the couch and playing video games and having a nice toke, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
So, but I doubt this was a mandate in any way. I think it's more just a play on the, hey, these stupid stoner teenagers are getting, hacked to bits. Let's just do a funny gameplay thing with that.
What's up with Australia? Are they like the straight edge continent?
No.
Like, why is this such a big deal there?
Well, okay. Let me go into this. So, I can't speak to the specifics of Australia and New Zealand, but let's be real. All of this ties back to America and its worldwide war on marijuana for many decades, and the demonization of it. Now, granted, it is a controlled substance, and I still think it should be and stay that way. But the legalization here thing, I think, has mostly proven that, that was a whole lot of people going to jail for nothing. So, but that has extended out into especially a lot of allied countries of the United States. There are fairly, draconian laws for marijuana in places like Japan, I don't know what the laws specifically are like in Australia and New Zealand, but I imagine this is just part of some sort of like, hey, we wrote this law in like the 90s and then we never updated it kind of thing.
I do also look, folks that are in Australia, feel free to chime in the discussions.
Tell us why
here.
we're wrong.
But the ratings board in Australia specifically, I feel like has always been a little more prudish.
Tight.
Yeah, we talked about Manhunt not too long ago, where I think a version of that was just banned. I feel
but that
like
was for violence, which
that was
again,
for violence. Yes.
is a thing that you don't actually see games banned for a lot because everything's violent all the time.
I think the Grand Theft Auto had its run-ins with the Australians ratings boards. I feel like whenever I've heard about a video game having issues making it to a territory, it's mostly Australia, right? Like, in something there. So I don't know what the Australians game ratings board. I
know what they're not
smoking. A bunch of teetotalers? Yeah, like I don't know what's going on over there. What a weird way for a game. One that I wonder if IllFonic was like, what? Like.
Yeah, I bet they weren't thinking about that because if they had, they might have not done this so they could sell their game in Australia.
Yeah, we'll see if they wind up appealing or do something else.
It's pretty fucking silly, you have to admit.
Yeah. Or we'll see if more comes out about what the again, IllFonic not especially explicit here about why or how the weed is used.
But really, what could come out at this point? Like, what could they even say that would, like, make a difference other than, I mean, straight up, other than the game actually blowing weed smoke in your literal human face, what exactly could they say other than, we don't like the way they put weed in the game? I think it seems to be all it is.
Maybe the weed murders somebody in an explicitly terrible way. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see that. Well, that game's out on the Halloween, the game Too Hot for Australia and New Zealand, out
seemingly
out in September. What a weird story.
Yeah,
Video games
I still don't really know what to make of this.
Continue to be weird. That's going to do it for the news.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you're in Australia and want to let us know what the hell's going on over there, or New Zealand.
Yeah. You count too. You're a separate country. We understand that.
Or New Zealand, right.
I know it's a regional thing. I imagine maybe the ratings boards there talk to each other, but I'm just saying, I understand you are separate entities.
Let us know. All right. Let's take it over to the emails. Brad Shoemaker, we have an email address here, podcast@nextlander.com, podcast@nextlander.com. And if I say it a third time, it sticks in people's heads, podcast@nextlander.com. Got anything in the email bag you want to share with us?
Octavius.
Oh.
Is falling asleep for 45 minutes on the couch right before going to bed a nap or some sort of pre-sleep sleep?
Oh, that's a danger zone is what I think.
My partner does this all the time. She usually naps for like an hour before we go to bed.
That's just sleep to me.
I think it's just sleep.
I think you add that number onto your sleep number.
What's your sleep number? Wait, you do? Even if it's interrupted?
Oh, yeah. If you
count that as part of your 8 or 9?
If
you fall asleep.
If I sleep 3 hours on the couch, which certainly has been known to happen, and then get up and go straight to bed, then that 3 hours is just part of whatever subsequent sleep I get in the bed.
I think that sometimes when I do, like, I'll fall asleep on the couch, and if there's a window, and if it's in the window, I have a hard time falling back asleep. If it's really long, if it's a 2 hour, like you said, 2 or 3 hour, I can usually fall back asleep. Somewhere in the 45 minutes to an hour and a half ish is where I think I get up and I'm like, oh, my body thinks this was just enough of a refresher nap or something, and then has trouble just going right back to sleep. And that could be a danger zone. That could be a little tough. I like falling asleep on a couch, though. I don't know, something.
It's dangerous.
It is dangerous, but this usually means when I'm doing it, it's because I don't have something the next morning, and that's when I'm just like, I'm able to just
freedom
be like,
to you.
Something about it is like the freedom to just fall asleep on this couch because I know I don't have to be up at like 6 o'clock or something the next day. Otherwise, I'm sabotaging myself.
That's just not the best sleep, though. I don't know.
No. I bet there are really nice couches where people are like, this couch rocks. I sleep well on here. But I don't think on my couch I ever wake up feeling refreshed. So yeah, that is 45 minutes. I think 45 minutes anywhere you fall asleep, you're past nap range. You might have taken a short sleep. 20 minutes. 20-minute naps.
Oh, wait. Oh, no way.
What?
No, that's nothing. That's not even a nap.
If it's in the middle of the afternoon, like 2 hours is still a nap.
Why are you even there?
What else would it be?
Why
That's
even
a
show
short.
up?
You fell asleep in the afternoon.
That's a 2-hour nap.
If you take 2 hours in the afternoon, you can go to sleep on time?
No, I can't. I can't.
Well, I
I
don't.
can't,
The
I
thing is,
can't
I
nap
don't
at all.
nap.
I can't
I
nap
never
at all.
nap.
I cannot. I pathologically cannot fall asleep in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, it
Okay.
fucks up my whole
just,
day.
I'm just saying, even if it's 2 hours, if it's in the afternoon, even if it's 2 or 3 hours, it's still a nap.
Okay, I'll only count it a 2 hour in the afternoon. I'll only count it if you are a person who can take a 2 hour nap in the afternoon, quote unquote nap, and still go to sleep at your normal routine bedtime. If you take that sleep, like I think all of us here, if we were to do that, we would be absolutely screwed when it came time to going to bed.
100%.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless it's like one of those things where like you haven't slept in 3 days, like you come back from E3 kind of thing, where your body's just demanding sleep. All right. Another email there.
Manny from Denver asks a random question for me.
Okay.
With Outside Lands having just happened this past weekend, I'm curious if Brad has ever attended. I recall him mentioning before that he lived near Golden Gate Park where it's held each August. Y'all used to live here too. I think we can just broaden the question.
I worked in Outside Lands once
Did you
when I
really?
was at Harmonix.
Oh, wow.
We had some kind of rock band set up. I don't remember. It wasn't Beatles. I don't remember what it was, but it was like me and one of our other community members there just hanging out while the show was going on.
Okay, so ironically, it was when you did not live here.
Yes.
What's the pitch for Outside Lands?
It's just a festival. It's just a big music festival in the
Golden Gate
Coachella.
Park.
It's basically Coachella in the middle of Golden Gate Park.
What kind of acts would you say are like an Outside Lands?
All kinds.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like
it's a wide
everything.
variety.
All right.
Everything you can think of.
I'd say
Like-
usually it's not the biggest acts in the world. Like it's not doing fucking like what did you just say? The one that I just for some reason the brain just went out of my
Coachella?
brain. Coachella. It's not doing Coachella headliner names,
I'd
or at
say
least
it's
not
closed.
not as many at least at a time. But it is definitely like mainstream acts.
It's definitely smaller just by virtue of being in the middle of a park, in the middle of a small city, like physically, geographically small. You know, like it's not.
Is it free?
No.
No.
It is
What are you
full on.
talking about?
It is absolutely full on expensive festival pricing. I mean, it is
But
literally.
you can hear the music, right?
Yeah, sure. Like I think I may have mentioned this was years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Like the year that Green Day played, I could make out. I could hear enough to make out with each song that they were playing.
Oh yes, you did
Like
mention that.
I couldn't hear the words themselves, but I knew the songs enough to be able to basically tell what song they were playing. But I mean, that's also the year that Weezer played. We actually walked over there. I was just kind of curious how close we could get.
Yeah, how close can you get?
Like not very. I mean, there's barricades up everywhere and security all over the place. So like they're definitely making sure, because that's like a porous perimeter.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. That's
They
why I
had
asked if it
parts
was
fenced
free.
off when I was there.
There was tons of fencing and stuff. It would have probably been hard to sneak into that thing, and I bet they're looking for wristbands and stuff too.
So,
But I could hear them playing their cover of Enter Sandman.
can you
pretty
go into
clearly.
the park?
Yeah, but not in the area where the festival is, which is a huge chunk of the park.
I bet. So can you go? It's the that museum is over there, right? The
Like the DeYoung and the Academy of Science. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's the
It's
Academy of
not.
Science
It's not
is-
close to those. It's way out.
But could you hang out there and listen? That sounds like a
No,
beautiful day.
you wouldn't be able to hear very much from there.
You wouldn't. Okay.
It wouldn't
Or you
be
could-
a great experience.
Like kind of all you can hear is just the bass thumping. Which is
Oh,
mostly all
okay.
we can hear up where we live here.
Okay.
Like when I heard the Green Day, I had to like open the windows and put my ear up and like not turn the TV off. You know, like
Sure.
But no, I've never gone. In fact, I was quite happy to go to California Extreme on Saturday and not have to listen to the thumping all weekend. Because I was just not really feeling that at this particular moment.
Did you look up any of the acts?
Yeah, I'm
see
trying
who was
to.
in town?
They weirdly have like normally they have their lineup right on the front page, but since it's over, I can't
It's, like, gone
seem
already.
to find the lineup for this
That's
year.
wild.
I'm kind of curious.
Alex, traditionally, do they do? Is it a lot of like rock bands, or they have all types of music?
They have other music too that isn't just rock, but the year I was there, it was predominantly rock and metal bands, from what I recall.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a decent amount of hip hop and dance, and God, they literally have taken the lineup page down off their site already.
That's weird.
Why would
it
they
just
do that?
happened?
Charlie XCX,
Okay,
Strokes.
I've heard of them.
Man, I actually Turnstile, Baby Keem, the Double X. Anybody? DJO?
I know Turnstile. I know I know
look.
the XX.
Actually,
I've heard of some of
okay, the
these,
XX. I actually don't know a lot of these acts. I'm looking in the sidebar. Like Death Cab for Cutie is there.
They just reunited not that long ago.
Modest Mouse. I'm just looking for stuff I know.
Yep.
Maybe you're right. I'd say in past years it has been a little bit bigger, or at least acts I was more familiar with than this.
Yeah, like any festival, it varies from year to year, but it just sort of goes with where the trends are to a certain. Though I always felt like Outside Lands was a little bit like not necessarily at the bleeding edge of trends, more like trends that were super bleeding edge like a year or two ago, but now that stuff is kind of mainstream, like solidified.
Like last year, it was Tyler the Creator and Doja Cat,
Mm.
and Vampire Weekend.
I know we have a lot of listeners that
Ludicrous.
do a lot. Ludicrous.
I've heard of them.
Oh, still out there. A lot of listeners who do a lot of various things. I am curious if anybody out there is a concert booker or a show like this booker, someone who has to do legal or finances. I am so curious how far the ranges on prices that an act can demand. If they're like, does somebody reach out first with like, here's the price, here's the going rate for a band that performs here, and then is there just a back and forth? Like, is it all over the place? Is it? I'm sure it depends who you are. Like, what? How does that work, Alex? Do you know much about this?
So I can't. I can only speak broadly here because I was never in a band big enough to have like a writer or a guarantee really to speak of.
Yeah.
But my understanding, at least from back in the day, was that guarantees were not particularly negotiable. Like, if you are booking that band, it is because you want to pay that or willing to pay the amount of money that it costs to book that band.
Book the band. So the show. I'm talking about a big. What do you call these? Like a big
it's a
festival.
Yeah,
festival. So not like you're booking just the band, like a festival. Like, you think each band has its own rate?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they might have a different rate for like a festival set versus something that is like a headlining set or a major tour. But whatever the case, like they are having to manage all those individual guarantees and whatever writers they have and everything else to put those shows together. So you are really trying to work with a lot of pieces, I assume, at once.
And then it's your legal team promotion, whatever is in the back and forth to try and get you the best rates they can get.
Yeah, or, I mean, and again, some of that stuff is not very negotiable, or at least it didn't used to be. So I imagine that at a certain point, they're just like, look, we can afford this band or we can't.
Or if maybe is there ever a case where the band just really wants to do it? And be like, we know you can't really hit.
So here's the thing. Even if they did, their management would not just let them do it for less money. That's not how being a band manager works. You are there specifically to prevent them from ever agreeing to stuff like that.
I guess if you're big enough, right? If you're big enough, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just a band that's commanding, like, hey, our guarantee is $1,500 for a show, you're probably not trying to, negotiate too much with them. But if it's like
right.
tens of thousands and all this other shit around the edges, that can sometimes get very pricey once you start stacking those bands.
But if somebody like U2 just wants to do the show,
you're not getting U2 for Outside Lands. That's not fucking happening.
If U2 wants to do it, if they're just like, I really.
I'm telling you, they don't.
Or if Green Day just really wants to do it because they feel a love for coming back here, and they're like,
they might knock a little bit off their normal rate, but they would. I imagine they would have to fight with their manager about it.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that's just a world that I didn't really think about, Brad, until you were reading off all those names. I'm like, they must just be wildly different rates, right, for all of these different acts. They must also all know what everybody else is getting at some point.
To a point. Like, I would say this: I don't think Charlie XCX and the XX are making the same amount of money.
That's what I mean.
There's a pretty wide gulf between them.
Yeah, there's also different stage sizes, different
needs,
set lengths. Like you're also different commitments for different artists.
It's so wild. You think it's hundreds of thousands of dollars? You think it's like
what for an individual artist?
Yeah.
It depends on who it is.
Yeah.
Man, it's so weird.
I bet it scales way down. I bet it goes down to low five figures and
all the way up as much, like infinite, like up no ceiling.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. You want to do another email?
Zach from Sacramento.
Really, Zach?
The world recently saw the riveting announcement that Psi-Ops is coming to the PlayStation Plus Classics catalog. I think
true.
By the time or since this email was sent in, I think it's on there now.
Mm-hmm.
This clearly only means one thing. Psi-Ops 2 is finally happening, and the to be continued will finally pay off.
That's right.
In all seriousness, is there a world in which this re-release gains traction and people clamor for a sequel? Who even owns that catalog at this point?
Well, it's whoever bought up Midway's assets.
Right. I would assume Warner Brothers probably has it because they got most of the Midway stuff, didn't they? But not all, I think. I think not all. I'm actually not sure.
This is a good question.
I know they got a lot of it, but I have no idea where Psi-Ops would fit into that puzzle of legal stuff.
Until the Psi-Ops was released as free download, but during its dissolution, the rights to Psi-Ops were purchased by Warner Brothers alongside hundreds of other.
You try getting Warner Brothers to make a new video game, though.
Psi-Ops was released as a free download with advertisements on Final Planet and was considered abandonware until Sony announced in 2026 that it would re-release it on the PS5. So I don't know if they've gone back and restaked the claim. I and Zach would celebrate a continuation of the Mindgate conspiracy. We need to know what happened. I like Psi-Ops. I think Psi-Ops is a fun game. Video games have kind of moved on from some of that mechanic.
People really liked that. I never played that game, but I remember it being like weirdly beloved for being that tier of B game.
Yeah,
it was good. It was like a good one of those.
A lot of things that were done in it were also later done in some Star Wars games using the Force.
Sure.
You know, the way you kind of move. Was it the Euphoria engine? Was there a big like make stormtroopers?
That was LucasArts. Yeah, that was there. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I went back and I finished that game on a loader last saves or something on Giant Bomb. It's so if you want to see the to be continued ending to that game, just printed right there on the screen, you can check it out. And then who knows where Warner Brothers will wind up and what state their catalog will wind up. Will that be up for sale again? Who knows?
Yeah.
Like the entirety of Psi-Ops at some point is like a single like yellowed document in the bottom of a filing cabinet in some forgotten storage closet.
Yeah,
that says that whoever has this document owns this property.
At the time, if you're holding this right now, you own this. Yeah, who the heck knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath, but stranger things have happened.
Listen, when the current industry completely destroys itself, tears itself to pieces, and there is nothing left, what are you going to rebuild with? The franchises that people forgot about, and there's just nothing complicating you from just being like, we got to build from somewhere. Psi-Ops can be the foundation of the new video games movement.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be, but it could be.
The other weird time we live in is that some 30-year-old, some 25, 30-year-old out there who is now a director is like, Psi-Ops was my favorite game. I want to make an Amazon original series based on Psi-Ops. Who do I got to talk to? What are we doing here? Because they just grew up loving that game, you know, and now they're very successful.
Yeah.
Well, we got another email.
Sure.
Okay, last one.
Darian from Toronto.
Okay.
Your Apollo 11 watchcast reminded me that when I was a kid, Buzz Aldrin came to stay at my parents' tiny hotel in rural Tobago.
Okay.
My mom got him to sign my book of Star Wars Episode 1 cross-sections.
Oh, heck yeah, weird.
Which I eventually misplaced or destroyed.
Oh.
It wasn't until my teenage years that I realized what a loss that was. You guys have something valuable, material, or emotional that you discarded and now regret?
Ooh,
my a lot of my willingness to just get up every I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Geez, I'm a collector and a horrible holder on to of things. So I've had to live with getting rid of things that all things I think hold emotional weights.
Yeah.
And so I've had to live with a lot of like, I've just had to get rid of this because there's too many things in my life. So
yeah. The only time I ever really felt bad about getting rid of some stuff was I got a bunch of stuff from my grandpa when he passed away because it wasn't necessarily bequeathed to me specifically. It was just no one else was taking it. So, and some of it was like his World War II, like memorabilia, like photos he had taken and things like that. And at a certain point when I had to move to Boston and I was moving into a much smaller place, I had to get rid of a lot of stuff. And I was just like, some collector will want some of this. I kept the things that were like most meaningful to me. Like I have one that is like the insignia pin of his unit and a few other things that were like kind of just like nice keepsakes. But some of the other stuff that was like, hey, these replica swords and, you know, like some other like random photographs that were just like of Jeeps and stuff. I was like, you know, I can't hold on to this anymore. And so I ended up like selling off or donating some of that stuff to like, you know, collections and stuff. And I feel bad about that. But at the same time, where else was it going to go? Like, what was I going to do with photos of Jeeps?
Yeah, like you don't have infinite space.
No.
So
I kept the most meaningful things to
Yeah.
me, but like some of that stuff just did not stay with me.
Brad, you have a lot of cool signed video game stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, that stuff's still around. I have not gotten rid of any of that kind of thing. It's really those old computers that I've mentioned before. For me,
so hard to keep though.
Yeah,
I know, they're pretty big. There were 3 of them, 3 old towers that were just sitting there that got disposed of at some point that I would give anything to have back, but.
Like, are those are the things you think about? Could you part them out, or it's not even worth it at that point? Like rebuild it, like with old parts.
I know, but then that's why I wish I still had them, is to remember exactly what was in there.
Okay,
because they were weird. Like old computers were weird, you know. Like our first family computer was technically called a 486, but it was a 486 clone chip made. It was. I think it was a Cyrix clone, but it was after Cyrix had handed manufacturing off to Texas Instruments, so it was technically like a quote unquote 486 made by Texas Instruments, but apparently it was actually more like a souped up 386.
Okay.
For example, and it had a separate math coprocessor like soldered on the board. It's weird shit like that. You know, it's
yeah.
That was back. That was
off
back
the rack necessarily.
Back when, like, I guess it was a floating point unit, but whatever that math chip was separate from the process. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I just wish I could go look at weird stuff like that in there, or remember exactly what model of Sound Blaster we had, or that kind of stuff, you know.
Such a hard one though, because I feel like even at the time, like you don't know that stuff's going to be weird, right? Like
at the time, my mom was like, "Hey, can I get rid of these old computers?" I was like, "Yeah, just take the hard drives out, and you can e-waste them. It's fine." But then
you do that today,
right?
Yeah, and not know that the thing you had was just a weird unicorn.
And then my midlife crisis started, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I would give anything if I still had those." But at least I have the hard drives. Also, they were all on the floor, and they probably all would have gotten like flooded pretty significantly when the basement flooded a couple of years ago. So they would have been probably not in the best shape after that.
But you'd settle for like even the bill of sale or just like a parts list.
So I found the receipt for that first computer.
Oh, does it say what was in it?
I can't remember if it might have like some amount of a specs list on it.
Okay.
Or something, but the others are just kind of whatever I can remember.
I don't really have any things. I don't have too many signed things. I was never like an autograph seeker.
Yeah,
didn't come into.
Also not a huge. Oh, one of the arcade games was signed this weekend. What was it? Oh, it's gonna kill me now. I played it. I played the cabinet and was about to walk away, and then Steve pointed out, like, look, there's the signature of, and it was somebody. It was definitely somebody you know. It's definitely somebody I know if I could remember what the game was.
Mark Cerny.
It wasn't Cerny. Who was it? Anyway, it was just like whoever made this arcade game is just, there's their signature right there on the control surface.
What you have don't you have Miyamoto on a DS?
Yeah, I have a Miyamoto signed DS.
I think that's super cool. I think that's it's on the DS itself, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a good one. Is that the only Miyamoto signature you have?
Yes.
That's a good one. That's a really good one to have. Is that thing? Do you consider that to be one of your like more prized video game?
I guess so. Yeah, I don't feel
think it's cool.
I don't feel super sentimental about it, but it is definitely a kind of a rare-ish cool thing to have. I don't know how often he signs stuff.
Even if he does a lot, I think that's a very cool thing, and I think that's just on the DS. I think is very cool. Like, all right, I'm gonna wrap it up there. That's if you want to send an email, that's podcast@nextlander.com. That's going to do it for the show, folks. We've got the Watchcast continuing along with Summer of Star Trek. Some say the third season of Star Trek.
I think everyone actually says that.
Some would call it the third season of Star Trek.
Is the last season.
Yeah.
Some would say this is the third season and the last season of the original Star Trek series. Alex Navarro, we are up to what? 1, 2, 3, 4.
We just recorded 5 and 6.
Yeah.
We will be recording 7 and 8 tomorrow.
So, as the schedule runs forward, we will probably not make it to the end of this season by the time we hit spooky October month, but we are trucking along.
Yes.
So, come join us for more and more. As Alex, you have said, maybe the hardest journeys behind us for this season.
I
but
said
we'll
maybe.
see.
I'm not saying
Maybe.
there won't be other bad episodes, but what I am saying is I don't think we'll have another 1-2 punch quite as potently awful as 3 and 4 were this season.
Great. I haven't watched this week's episodes yet, but I look forward to it. I always enjoy the summer of Star Trek. We have, like we mentioned before, up on YouTube.
It's a site.
It's a site. We had our initial playthrough of Incident at Galley House, and then Brad, you came on and joined us for a little rafting. We hit a cruise ship or a yacht. I thought that was kind of fun to encounter something in the middle of the ocean. We had not encountered much before you got there, so that was a fun
Is that like a
one to
raid
have you
boss?
on. No, it was like a little bit of a puzzle that I guess we didn't quite make it through all the way, unlocking doors and kind of navigating through the area. I have no idea what's going to be in that thing in the end. Like a watermelon by the end. Who knows? That game is weird. But maybe we'll check that out and wrap up that little yachts puzzle next week. And then at the end of this week will be TBD for exactly what we want to stream. There's a couple of options there. In the end, we can jump into one of those multiplayer games. Is that Grain Rot is out there, or plenty of other stuff if we want to just grab bag. Over on the Patreon, like we said, we got that Watchcast there. We'll be recording a Never Been a Better podcast. I got to go book that one. We got the Planorama, Ramblecast, all the other fun goodies there at patreon.com/Nextlander. It's the best place to go and support us. It is really the majority, the lion's share of support we get from you on Patreon is what keeps us going. Alex Navarro, there are many tiers there, but there is one tier, the Mysterious Benefactors tier, that gets their names read on this year's show. Would you do us the honor of reading those names for us this week?
I would be more than happy to. Our Mysterious Benefactors for this week are Prepping My Wallet for September Vibes, Alpha Rhythm, Infelicitous Rips, Jacked Thucydides, David L., Kevly F., Brian Lucier, Skywarp, Jason Grimm, John Hubbard, Thordream, Evan Cook, Jerry Lee, Big Walker Deirdre, Pug Tato, Pup is my name, Bunny Fiend, Jad Rita, Renee Tatro, Statics, Maybe Today's the Day It Happens, Brian Murphy, Randy Duax, Randy Alderson, Andrew Tiebkin, Alex Wu, It Me JP, Edward Chick, Steve Lynn, Matthew Herrig, David Campos, and Tyler Treese.
Thank you. And thank you to all of our patrons and mysterious benefactors for this week, and our patrons who have supported us over the course of the run here at Nextlander. Like I said, couldn't do it without you. If you're listening to this and you're like, man, yeah, wow, I've been listening, and, maybe I'll go over to patreon.com and check out what's over there. Hey, you ain't gonna be disappointed, because all the stuff we've done previously, it's still there. You can go back and relive the magic, as they say. Plenty of stuff there to go check out. And if you just want to pop in, look around the house for a bit, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Any support is welcome. So thank you very much to everyone. And thanks again to our mysterious benefactors. That is going to do it for this week's show. The Nextlander Podcast is the name of the show that you've been listening to. Tell your friends about it. Alex Navarro, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brad Shoemaker, thank you very much. And thanks for sharing your journeys to California Extreme.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks to everybody again who makes this possible, and we'll be back next week. See ya.